Hello, hello. We're going to do another surprise impromptu stream. I'm going to be doing impromptu streams for, I think, the week to try to avoid the trolls too much so they don't know what's coming. So I'm just going to give everyone a second to kind of make their way in. And we're going to see how the stream goes tonight. I have some stuff I want to talk about. I also just kind of want to chat and hang out. It's been a good day. It has been a successful day. It has been a vindicating day. And we're going to talk all about it. We're going to talk all about my very vindicating day. I'm going to I've got a bunch of stuff I want to talk about tonight, but mostly I just want to celebrate that it is Monday and I was right. And I was right. And I was right. And I was right. And now people are saying that I'm right. So it's not just me saying it. All right, guys. Oh my god. Okay. So happy to see everyone here. Okay. Just getting my little setup. I just want to tweet out. I'm going to tweet out the impromptu stream tonight. And we're going to see how many people we get here and if we get any trolls and stuff like that. And hopefully I'll be able to, I'm going to make some, I have plans for some moderators to get added. So I know who I'm looking for moderators, but we'll see. If you're a regular, you might become a moderator tonight, just in case. All right. Who do we have in the chat? How are you guys doing tonight? You guys having a good night so far? How'd your Monday go? Please mount that like button before the trolls come and ruin the entire thing. Patrice is here. Patrice, guess what? Patrice is blessed with moderator ability. Because I know Patrice. If you are a member of my locals community, you might become a moderator tonight. Congratulations. Congratulations on the great promotion. Ooh, Casper's here. Casper can be a moderator. If you've been a regular on my stream and I don't recognize your name yet, and I don't bless you with moderator privileges, don't worry about it. We'll get to know each other. It's all good. It's all good. We'll get to know each other and make it work. All right, guys. So there's a couple things I wanted to talk about tonight. And first off, vindicated. Maybe not everyone. What the hell is on my hat? Why do I have dust? Probably makeup. It's probably makeup. I'm not even wearing makeup. I have makeup on my hat. So today was good because I gotta be honest with you guys. Like, yesterday was rough. It was not a good day. For those of you who don't know, I basically, it seems to have kind of cleared up now. I think things are kind of starting to settle down a little bit. But I basically have gone through like 5 straight days of being like mobbed and bullied. Like, I have never been mobbed and bullied in my life. And it was just like everywhere. And you know what? Like, I probably would have been a little bit better able to manage it if I wasn't actually trying to make what I believe is a really critical point about white identitarians and actual white supremacists trying to hijack the anti-CRT movement. And I know, I am well aware that I sounded crazy for a little while. I'm not gonna do my presentation voice. I'm gonna try to talk normal. Although sometimes, like, I got so used to like to doing like keynote speeches and presentations through my business that sometimes I just go into presenter mode and I don't even like think about it. So I'm gonna try to talk normal. But yeah, it was like a little bit of a week. So I basically stumbled and kicked the hornet's nest last week, and just it's been kind of a nightmare ever since. And but it seems thankfully to be dying down now. And I think that part of the reason that it's starting to die down is that James Lindsay and Chris Rufo have publicly supported me. And they might not, I mean, I've talked to both of them, and they, like, we haven't gone in depth about like exactly what I think is going on, but they absolutely agree with me about the potential threat, and it is something that they are both aware of. And they have both publicly supported me on Twitter. Chris came out and retweeted. It was funny, like I like James Lindsay had oh, Patrice, you're very nice. I have no makeup on right now. James Lindsay had tweeted out like that I was kind of right about this the other day. And that definitely made me feel better. But I have to tell you guys, like, I got a DM from Chris Rufo today, and he had posted something because I guess the Washington posted a hit piece on him. I like he's getting hit pieces from everywhere, man. And I guess the Washington posted a hit piece on him, and he tweeted it out, and all these like white identitarians started replying to it. He DM me, he's like, Carlin, what is going on? Like, I started seeing this a couple weeks ago. I was like, dude, this is what I'm talking about. And so we talked about it, and you know, I mean, basically it seems like he's seeing similar things that I'm seeing. And then he tweeted out that I was right. And I got to tell you guys, like the minute I got that DM, it was funny because I just Joshua and I have our one-on-one coaching call on Mondays usually. And I had literally just logged on to the Zoom, and so Joshua was sitting there, and I got the DM from James Lindsay, or not James Lindsay, from Rufo, and I literally broke down in tears. It was such a relief that he saw it in the way that I was seeing it, that I like, and I don't cry like ever. Maybe I don't even cry on the stream. God, like I'm actually like feeling emotional even talking about it. Um, like I broke down in tears, and I just could not stop sobbing, and my face got all red and all this stuff. And it was such a relief to me that someone else saw it, because I really thought I was going crazy. The amount of people. Oh, Jaya is here. Jaya, I'm gonna make you a moderator. Congratulations on your promotion, Jaya. The amount of people that were, you know, like saying I was having a nervous breakdown, or saying I was spiraling, or saying any of these things. And then on top of that, like, you know, because what the white identitarians do, or like white supremacists, I'm gonna use those terms interchangeably. I don't really think there's a big difference between the two. What they do is they try to gaslight you. And what I've come to learn, I mean, it's a fascinating study in language. It really is, to watch. I feel like I'm absolutely starting to figure out what their language is. And it's funny because, you know, the left has a very distinct language, the right has a very distinct language. These people have a very distinct language, and there are just certain cues where you can kind of tell who's what. And hey, guess what? No one's forcing you to be here. You don't want to hear about it, you can leave. You can leave. You can literally leave. No one's forcing you to be here. George Andre Veloso Nunez and Dave Rubin's latest interview with James Lindsay, they say on video you define CRT. Did they really? I haven't watched that yet. Did they really? Oh my god, I love both of them so much. I really, really do. Those Dave Rubin is a good egg. He really is. And I'll tell you, like, I've been communicating with him through this whole thing, and he's been very helpful. And James Lindsay's, you know, a champion. There's way too much gaslighting. Well, I mean, I didn't exactly expect to be attacked by a mob of white supremacists. That was not on the list of things I had to do this week. But like I really, like, I got very emotional today about the whole thing, because I really thought I was going crazy, because what was happening in the comments was, what they do is they gaslight you. And they're playing this good cop bad cop game, where like some of them are like mean, and some of them, you know, it's my channel, I'll do whatever the fuck I want. You're gonna get put in timeout for that. I'm not like, I am, guys, let's just be very clear. I am suffering absolutely no fools. I am suffering no fools. I have been through 5 straight days of bullying. Actually, it's maybe 4.5. I have ascended to absolute give no fucks level. I feel like I am like completely inoculated now. I feel like there's nothing these people can do. Like, they can all take it and shove it, honestly. So, um, but what the white identitarians do is they gaslight you in the chat, or in the comments, and some of them will play good cop and some of them will play bad cop, and they pretend to be your fans. No, don't. We're not. I know who that is. I know who that is. He's fine. I think if it's who I think it is, I think he's fine. Um, and like, so some of them will be like, I'm so disappointed in you. I am unsubscribing, but they were never like your fan in the first place. So like when you start to see a lot of that stuff, you're like, oh my god, I'm losing all my audience. And I did. I mean, I lost a whole bunch of people. I lost probably like 1,700 followers on Twitter. I lost about 1,000 on here. And I'm gonna be really, really honest. I will sacrifice followers every day of the week to tell the truth. It wasn't even like a consideration. It was like, okay, you don't want to hear the truth? Fine. Fine. Go somewhere else. Um, but okay, hang on. The Dashing Rogue, will you come on my podcast as a guest to discuss your findings regarding the loaded rhetoric and CRT being used by white nationalists? I did get your DM. I have to look into it. You know what the other thing is that happened? I'll probably, yeah. So okay, so here's what I need you to do. Like I'm pretty like busy for the rest of the month. I'm actually going to Pork Fest on Wednesday, which is like the big Libertarian festival in New Hampshire. I have a metric f ton of crap to do before then. I'm flying out to LA on Saturday. I come back on Monday for a super secret thing that I'm doing in LA. And I'm not, for anyone who's in LA, I'm not avoiding you being there. I'm coming in and out. It's gonna be super quick. I'm not gonna be available. I will be back in LA like in like the first or second week in July or something. So people in my locals community know that I will be coming back to LA again. But anyways, long story short, Dashing Rogue, ping me in July. And then you're gonna have a much better chance of it. Because I don't have any time right now. Guess who? Just wanted to show support, and sorry so many closed-minded people decided to waste everyone's time. It's hard to deprogram automatrons. Thank you. Guess who? I appreciate that. Um, okay. We're not spamming the chat. Is there something going on with Hunter Avalon? I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, no, I'm not reading into things. What do you think I'm reading into? Freaking troll. Freaking troll. Dragon Water made the Pork Fest. It's PORC, like porcupine, not like bacon, not like pigs. So where was I? So what they do is they gaslight you, and they make you think that they're your fans or your followers. I mean, there's so many messages from people who were like, the ones that were really how I figured this out that they were gaslighting me was there were people that were like, I can't believe you've turned your back on conservatism. I've been following you since the beginning. I can't believe you left. You are not a conservative. And I was like, no shit, I'm not a conservative. I've never said I was a conservative. You are not a fan of me if you think that I am a conservative. Timo's channel. I just got my BAFA implant. Cool to see you stream. Yeah, I gotta be honest. I know I'm a little bit earlier tonight because I actually have stuff to do tonight and I don't want to be up all night like I have been the last, 4 nights. But I actually am really enjoying these evening streams. I kind of really enjoy like the late night streams. Maybe I'm gonna keep doing that. My whole sleep schedule is screwed up now. Big McKay he wants your husband's green card and gun back. Well, funny story. Funny story. You guys remember how Lauren Witzke called for my husband's deportation on Twitter before she was banned like 2 days later? I don't think she was banned for that. I think she was banned for something else. Well, I found out today. So Lauren Witzke actually did an interview with that white supremacist dude I did about the stream about the other day. And so I was watching it. I was like, what crazy racist nonsense is Lauren Witzke going to say? I actually didn't hear her say anything overtly racist, although she did agree with some racist things he was saying, but like whatever. But what I did find out is that Lauren Witzke has been put on the domestic terrorist list. And I thought that was really, really funny because I was like, so Lauren, what you're telling me is that the United States government trusts my husband, the illegal immigrant, more than they trust you. I felt pretty good about that. Make CRT a television again. That's that's a good one. Someone should make a t-shirt with that on it. Um, do you guys like the evening impromptu streams where I just kind of talk about stuff? Oh, maybe we could do a call-in. Maybe we could do a call-in. Now, we might get some trolls calling in, but that's okay because I can just boot them out. Yeah, maybe we'll do a call-in tonight. Maybe we'll do a call-in. We're gonna see how it goes, and maybe I'm gonna tell a couple stories, and then maybe we can do a call-in, and we'll see how that goes. We'll see who shows up on the channel tonight. That'd actually be kind of be funny. Um, all right. So, what I wanted to talk about tonight was why I had a one night stand with the Republican Party. Because I admit that I was not in the Republican Party long. I wasn't. It was a quickie. It was a quickie at best. So here's what happened. Now, before like there Dragon Water says, "Yeah, these streams are fun. Sorry about this morning. It's okay. Dragon Water, we're still best friends. It's okay. It's a yes, Janice Zeal. You absolutely should call in. Absolutely, absolutely. We'll do call-ins a little bit later. Um, yes, I was very naughty with the Republican Party. With the Republican Party, it was kind of like, you know what it was? It was like I had a couple cocktails, hanging out at the bar. It seemed like a really good idea at the time until I woke up the next morning and saw what it actually was and regretted it almost instantly. Hi, Ty. Witsky is on the domestic terrorist list, is long overdue. LOL. Didn't she work with a Mexican cartel before running for Congress? Yes, she did. Yes, she did. And, I am not opposed to redemption for people. Like, listen, man, people screw up in life, and I am not opposed to redemption. And if Lauren Witsky was actually a good person, like, I wouldn't care that she was a drug runner. She's not a good person. She's a evil, evil, evil person. So I don't feel that bad. Student of history. A, big shock you're not a conservative. B, congrats to leftists for making white identitarians. C, to people don't think we're fighting identitarianism with identitarianism is going to go anywhere. Student of history, that is exactly correct. That is exactly correct. All right. Let's talk about my one night stand with the Republican Party. So obviously, I think most of you know I was a Democrat for 20 years, and in February of 2020, I left the Democratic Party. I became an independent, um, and I really had absolutely no intentions of joining a party. I especially wasn't going to join the Republican Party. Like that just wasn't that was not in the plan. But then I spent 6 months with the Walkaway campaign, traveling around the country, and, you know, I cannot emphasize, like, the energy in the 2020 campaign was so good, and I got to go to all these events, and I met all these people, and, like, generally speaking, I actually really enjoy being around conservatives. I do. I think that they're good people. I think they're nice people. I differ with them on some values, um, but the thing of it is, like, I kind of perceive us to be in a situation where we need to work together a little bit more, and so I was like, okay, like there are higher priorities than just me getting my way on every single thing right now, and those priorities include protecting individual liberties and and our individual freedoms. And on that, I was absolutely aligned with the Republicans. And so I was kind of the opinion. Thank you for that super sticker, Queen of Spades. I was kind of like of the opinion that the Republican Party post election needed to solidify around the MAGA movement, the American First movement, like a populist movement. And I wanted to be a part of that. I felt very strongly that in order, oh, hey, Gabs, girl. I mean, I can't even. I took the weekend off and the world went crazy. I'm gonna finish my book. Gabs, I was literally working on the chapter in which I talk about your story. I was working on it last night. I'm making you look very good, of course. Making you look like a fierce warrior. Because she is. Uh so like I thought it was important to solidify that, and, you know, I had gone to, the Walkaway campaign did a debate in Fort Lauderdale. It was an LGBT debate. I wasn't in it, obviously, because contrary to popular belief, like, I'm not a lesbian, but Blair White was, Mikey was, Brandon was, and, Blair said something in the debate about being the change that you wanna see in the Republican Party, like, bringing that change, changing it from the inside. And I really thought about that. This was before the election. I really thought about that. And I was like, I really don't want to become a Republican, but is it like the responsible thing to do to try to, you know, demonstrate joining the party in order to solidify this MAGA movement? So when so the walkaway campaign, we flew from Fort Lauderdale to Phoenix because we had a rally in Phoenix the following day. And as I was in the airport and I had like a 3 hour layover or something, and I was in the Delta Club and I had a couple cocktails and I basically tweeted out, I'm thinking seriously about becoming a Republican. And that tweet, of course, went viral on the internet. And Scott Pressler had the best reaction ever. I'm sure Scott Pressler is very disappointed with me, and I'm sorry that I disappointed Scott Pressler by leaving the Republican Party. But Scott Pressler had the best response to that tweet. He like appeared out of nowhere. He's like, "You rag," and it was great. And you know, at that point, it felt really good. I thought I really liked the energy in the MAGA movement, and I really liked the direction that I saw things going in. Hang on, my throat is dry. And so I had made the decision, and I had really solidified it in my head. I had made the decision to join the Republican Party prior to the election. And I guess like I kind of like in my head it had already happened. Now I hadn't officially done it though, because I hadn't gone to town hall to fill out the form yet. And I but like in my head I was already there and I knew I was gonna do it anyway. And so I was kind of like, okay, like the next time I need to go to town hall for something else, I will, you know, I'll fill out the damn form and I'll change my voter registration. Well, do you guys remember when I first started talking to Lauren Witzke, which was around the time that I was in that dumb debate on Elijah Schaffer's channel, Slightly Offensive, where there was a discussion about like whether or not LGBT people should be in the MAGA movement. And I was like, of course, LGBT people should be in the MAGA movement. And Lauren Witzke, being that she's a gay hater, was like, no, go form your own party. You don't belong. Well, this was around the time that she called for the deportation of my husband on Twitter, like out of nowhere. Like Lauren Witzke had 60,000 followers. She was the Republican nominee for Senate in Delaware. And she had called for the deportation of my husband publicly. I was like, this bitch, who does she think she is? And then she kept coming at me. Oh, who has summoned me? Yes, that that was Scott Pressler. I love Scott Pressler. Scott Pressler is one of the good ones. So when as Lauren was like coming at me, like one of the things she said is like, "You are never going to be the Republican, Carlin. You're never going to be in the GOP. We don't want you here." I was like, "Oh yeah, Lauren? Oh yeah." So I drove my ass over to town hall. I filled out the damn form because it's like 5 minutes down the road. I filled out the damn form. I got a copy of it. I posted on Twitter. I was like, "Oh yeah, Lauren, because I just joined the Republican Party." Ha ha. So basically, I had made the decision in my head to already do it before, but my actual physical, like the actual change in my voter registration was kind of to troll Lauren Witzke. Like the timing of it was kind of to troll Lauren Witzke. I just wanted to be like, you think I can't be in the Republican Party? Forum says differently, Lauren. Um, 81. I'm 40 years old. Um, and so I basically just did it to troll. And then like a day or two later, we had the debate. And I got introduced as a liberal Republican, which to be really honest with you guys, like there are actually like a lot of liberal Republicans. There are. I've met them. Like there are a lot of people who are in the Republican Party that consider themselves liberal. I was not the only one. This is not even like I'm not a novelty in this. You know, it's funny because I was thinking about, here's the other reason I joined the Republican Party is I was thinking about, thank you, Eisen. Eisen and I are new best friends. Dragonwater and I are also best friends. Aaron and I also best friends. The mods are on point today. They are. Thank you, moderators, for keeping the chat. And I'm going to be adding more moderators because I have a feeling this is not going to end anytime soon. So I'd basically done it to troll, but I was serious about it. And then what happened is I started working on working on the bill to ban CRT in New Hampshire. And I got to see kind of Joshua would kill me if I told you how old he was. He would kill me. He would kill me until I was dead. He's older than me. That's all I'll say. He's older than me. According to Joshua, he's 25. He's 25. That is the correct answer. He's not older than me. He's 25. I was lying. He's only 25. So I had started working. He's not 44. He's not that much older than me. He's just slightly older than me. Grandma Nay spreading rumors. Joshua's not going to be happy with you. So I started working on this bill in New Hampshire. And I was also thinking about possibly running for Congress. Like, that was a real thing. I really was thinking about running for Congress, and I actually got very, very close. And then, and I didn't really think I would like win. I thought maybe I could, but I was also like, I would really just run to push the conversation on, especially on critical race theory, and to try to at least get the candidate that the GOP wants is a guy named Matt Mowers, who has about as much charisma as a slice of bread and doesn't take strong positions on anything. And you know, so like I just wanted to push the conversation. So I was thinking about running for Congress, and I was like, I got to be a goddamn Republican if I'm running for Congress, to make it like a serious thing to push the Republican Party. And so that was a factor too. But then I started working on this bill in New Hampshire, and I got to tell you guys, like, the absolute blatant corruption and ridiculousness that I witnessed directly in exactly. This is why I would have run for Congress, to say F Sununu. And I am still working. I am working very hard to try to convince the Libertarians to run a Senate candidate. Not that the Libertarians going to win, but if they shave enough votes off, well, to get ballot access first, because Libertarians in New Hampshire don't have ballot access. But like, I would take an immense amount of joy and pleasure in being a part of Chris Sununu losing that seat. But it was just so corrupt, and it was so bad. And, you know, the Republican Party in New Hampshire, those of you who were on my stream the other night, you know this because I told you the story. The Republican Party in New Hampshire completely sabotaged the bill to ban critical race theory. Completely sabotaged it. It was 100% the Republican Party that has completely sabotaged this bill. Democrats didn't need to do anything. They literally didn't need to do anything because Chris Sununu didn't want to sign this bill. His cronies in the Republican Party sabotaged it from start to finish. And not all the Republicans, but the ones that you know are in control and power in at least the Senate, and in like, I mean, obviously Chris Sununu. Absolute nonsense. So I'll make this story quick. So for those of you who don't know what happened with the CRT bill in New Hampshire, first off, it's not going to pass because the budget is going down in flames. The state budget in New Hampshire, at least as I understand it right now, I think they're voting on it this week. But as I understand it right now, the budget in New Hampshire is not going to pass. Not because of HB 544, because of a different reason that I'll explain. Okay, so guys, if you have not mounted that like button yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Please mount that like button. We have to counteract all the efforts of the trolls. So the HB 544 is the bill to ban divisive concepts. I've talked about it like 18,000 times on this channel. And so essentially what happened when this bill was introduced was that Chris Sununu, our Republican governor, came out immediately against it and said he would veto it. And then he spent the next several months working with the Democrats, supporting critical race theory as a Republican, as a guy that the entire GOP is rallying around, and would not relent on this bill. would not relent, made every excuse in the book, listened to every Democratic talking point, used every Democratic talking point, flat out lied. Chris Sununu flat out lied about this bill. Lied. And so what happened when he came out and said he was not going to vote for he was not going to sign the bill, he was going to veto it, is the Republicans in the House attached it to the budget. Now, you guys got to understand, like, New Hampshire is weird. Like, we do legitimately have like a metric F ton of libertarians here, and some of those libertarians run as Republicans just to get into the House, to get like the seat, because obviously that's much easier. So there are there's a freedom caucus here, basically, of like liberty Republicans, right? And they were the ones that were supporting the bill. While the traditional Republicans, the effing GOP, were doing everything that they could to sabotage it. Now, it ended up getting attached to the budget in its full form. The budget ended up passing. So it passed through the House in the budget. When the bill got to the Senate, they 100% sabotaged it. Chris Sununu sabotaged it. He worked with the Republican Attorney General, John Formella, to sabotage it. He worked with State Senator Jeb Bradley, Republican, to sabotage it. They watered it down completely. They left some components in there. It wasn't going to be completely useless, but it was really only going to be useful for state employees, which is important, and I'm not downplaying that. But they sabotaged the effectiveness of this bill, and I was really pissed. Well, we had a chance to introduce, like I said to the bill's sponsor, I said to Representative Keith Ammon, shout out Keith Ammon, he's awesome. I said to him, I was like, the most important thing that they took out was they took out the provision that you could not teach that America was a fundamentally racist country. And everything in schools, if you want to ban CRT in schools, you have to have that provision in there, because I've looked at all the curriculum. It's not like they're going into schools and saying, children, white people are inferior to black people. If you are white, you have privilege and need to defer to black people. They do that sometimes when you get into like high school, but when it's in the younger years, what they teach is like, don't you believe in fairness? Don't you believe in justice? Well, America has original sin, and that original sin is slavery. And so we have to do the so like basically like everything comes from that provision. Like they can teach almost every single part of critical race theory just based on that alone. So I was like, Keith, if you get one thing back in the bill, it's got to be this. This is the thing you have to get back in the bill. Like I won't like love the bill, but I'll be like satisfied if this gets back in there. Well, he listened to me because he's a good dude, and they wrote a brilliant amendment. Oh my God. Like the plan that they came up with to insert that provision back into the bill was brilliant. It was a really good job. And so essentially what happened is they had this amendment and it had to go to the conference committee. Now, something else is happening simultaneously to this. And I don't know all the details here, but essentially, one of the highest priorities of the Republican House, at least in this legislative session, was that they wanted to rein in the governor's emergency powers that he used during the COVID lockdowns. And that was like the big thing. And there were an awful lot of Republicans that got elected to the House and know they're only going to serve one term because they literally only got elected. They literally only got elected to do the emergency powers thing. That's it. Okay, guys, the groypers are coming in. I need my mods. My mods need to be on high alert. I'll do it too. But you don't be shy about banning these fuckers. Okay? So we had this amendment to the bill. It was going to get inserted back into the bill, or there was going to be a vote on it at least, when the bill was in conference. So, like the reconciliation that had to happen between what passed in the House and what passed in the Senate. Okay, so Keith wrote this awesome amendment. He, I guess, submitted it to whatever process that he. Oh, naughty one. Okay, I got you. I got you. I recognize you. Oh, where are you? Hang on. Hang on, naughty one. I can't find you. I can't find you in the chat right now. Oh, jeez. Here come the trolls. We're having a nice story time. Having nice goddamn story time. Gotta ruin everything they do. Oh, got you. Okay, I see you. I see you. Hang on. I think I see you. There you are. Okay. Got you. Do your worst, naughty one. Do it. Do it. Well, time out their asses then. I don't know how any of this works. Okay. So what happened with this emergency powers bill? Because Keith Ammon he's a Freedom Caucus guy. He's a Liberty Republican. And oh, tune in, tune drop out. Thank you for the super chat. Post-colonial theory was the original critical theory based on postmodern rhetoric. Yes, anti-white is not the right messaging, but you have to take all critical theories as a group, and together they are attacking the Western liberal tradition. Yeah, that's all true, but I'm not interested in like, and again, I appreciate the super chat. I very much appreciate the support. Ava, I see you. Ava is getting mod status. Hang on. Ava, we need your help. Dang. Hang on. There she is. I see her. Okay. Add mod. All right. So Keith Ammon spoke out. So basically, the emergency powers bill that got passed in the House also got watered down in the Senate. Shocker. The Republicans in the Senate in New Hampshire ruining effing everything. They ruined everything. And they watered down this emergency powers bill. Well, the House wasn't happy about that. So they issued like a press release or something. And Keith Ammon, who is the sponsor of the anti-CRT bill, contributed a quote to the press release. And because they were pissed at him for contributing this quote to the press release, they did not even vote on his amendment. They didn't even vote. They refused to do their basic job. They didn't even vote on the amendment because they were pissed that Keith Ammon contributed a quote to against what the Senate had done to the emergency powers bill. And so when I found that out, I was like, motherfucker, burn that budget to the ground. And they were all going to vote like so I said, like, a bunch of the Liberty Republicans, they just got elected for one thing. The only thing they got elected for was that emergency power bill. They're not coming back. They don't care about coming back and serving a second term. So you only need 10 or 15 Republican votes to drop off in the House for the budget to fail. I heard as many as 90 Republicans are voting against the budget because they're so pissed at what happened with the emergency powers bill. So New Hampshire ain't gonna have a state budget. And you know, I'm actually okay with this. I think it's okay. So that's what happened there. And I was basically watching all this go on, and I could see kind of the conversations back and forth. And I actually, like, in the course of working on like the bill initially, in terms of just like, you know, I was communicating with a lot of people on it. I was having a lot of meetings with people locally. I was just trying to drum up support, explain what critical race theory meant, all that. I started to see directly just the blatant corruption in the GOP. And I started to get really pissed. I was like, what the hell? Like, what did I get into? And that's not to say that, like, I mean, you need more time to make change. I didn't expect change to happen overnight, but I was just like, I was really unimpressed with how badly the Republicans were just sabotaging everything. Everything. Sabotaged everything. Ruined a perfectly good CRT ban because Chris Sununu, Republican governor, demanded it. And so I was pretty lit already. And then I heard Trump didn't endorse him, but basically promoted the idea of Chris Sununu running for Senate. And I feel as though I have been screaming into the void for months. Chris Sununu supports critical race theory. Chris Sununu supports critical race theory. You guys all know that Chris Sununu supports critical race theory because I am the only one screaming about this. And what conservative journalists are doing is they're citing these quotes that Chris Sununu's like, well, here's what he does. He says, well, I don't like that critical race theory is taught in schools, but free speech. Free speech is good. Now, we all know that the free speech excuse is bullshit. It's bullshit. And Chris Sununu knows that. A former Chief Justice of the New Hampshire Supreme Court told Chris Sununu that. And so we know that that is nonsense. And so, but the entire GOP started rallying around Chris Sununu to run for Senate. And at that point, I was like, all right. They are actively supporting someone who supports critical race theory. So I was pissed off at the corruption I saw. I was really pissed when all of the GOP supported Chris Sununu. And I mean, I was just like, I was starting to become really unimpressed because I'd also started seeing, and I'm still worried about this, to be honest. I started seeing like the gay haters gaining more traction, like the Lauren Witzkes and the Bryson Grays and the people that I really, really do not like. And it got to the point where I was like, you know what? This was a mistake. This was ill considered. And I have to tell you that even when, and no, this is no offense to any Republicans in the chat. I don't mean offense to anyone, but I really think that yes, everyone, please be patient and nice to the mods. Okay, don't shit talk the mods. And I'm watching too. I'm trying to do the best I can, but I so appreciate you guys. So like between all of these things, and I like even when this is the honest truth, even when I went to town hall to fill out that form to register as a Republican, it felt a little dirty to me. It felt a little wrong. And I was like, this is just kind of like, you're going to get over this. Like, what, you're just feeling dirty because you basically did it today to troll Lauren Witzke and whatever. But it just didn't feel right. And so just all these things combined. And I was just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with the Republicans. I lasted a couple months. I did. And this is why I call it my one night stand, because like honestly, like before the election and after the election, the experiences I had with the GOP were completely night and day different. And I thought about it a lot, and I was like, you could stick around and try to fight, but another thing happened, which is the Mises Caucus guys in the New Hampshire Libertarian Party kind of started to recruit me a little bit. They did. Now, how many people here okay, type Y into the chat if you think the Libertarian Party sucks. Type Y into the chat if you think the Libertarian Party sucks. Go ahead. I'm going to drink some soda for the delay. I still drink Coke. P.S. I have a glass here, but I'm drinking out of the can. Like a hooligan. If you do not think the Libertarian Party sucks, you can type N. I just don't think we're going to have many of those. But so why if the... Okay, Morgan doesn't... Okay, Morgan, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you, Morgan. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about it. But I know my audience, and I know that a lot of people think the Libertarian Party sucks. They are racist, but I like their soda. I like their soda. McKay, you got Monk Powers, Dr. B. Please enjoy this humble haiku. Fear, aggression, hate, dissolve in radiant calm. Flowers bend toward light. Matt C. Thank you for that. Okay. So, while all this is happening and I'm becoming really disaffected with the Republican Party, the Mises Caucus guys, shout out to Ben and Eric. We went out for a beer. There was a giant pretzel involved. And we just had a conversation about the Libertarian Party. Now, I had always, I've always had well, shouldn't say always. Obviously, I was a Democrat once, but honestly, like in later years, and especially since I started my business, I really think that you don't understand how truly evil taxes are until you own a business. Like, it's awful. Dragonwater, have the Mises Caucus won the hostile take. Oh, I'll do an update on the hostile takeover. Yeah, like, essentially, yes. Essentially, we have won the hostile takeover. So I had kind of like always, when I was an independent before I decided to join the GOP, I had kind of flirted with the idea of joining the Libertarian Party. And then what happened? Joe Jorgensen, their presidential candidate, came out and was like, Black Lives Matter. And then Gary Johnson, a previous presidential candidate, agreed with her. And I'm pretty sure, if I recall, that this happened around the same time when the Walkaway guys and I were accosted by Black Lives Matter, and it went viral on the internet to like millions of people saw me running down the street covered in sweat being chased by an angry mob. And so I was not happy with this. I was like, F the Libertarian Party. I want to say Black Lives Matter, F the Libertarians. Marquis, when taxes take 3 months worth of salary, I know it's evil. Yeah, taxes suck, man. One of the reasons I like New Hampshire, though, because we have no income tax, we have no sales tax. New Hampshire's pretty rad. So the Mises Caucus guys, several months after that, kind of took me out. We had a beer and a pretzel, and we talked about what the Mises Caucus was about. And they gave me a little pamphlet, and it had 8 policy positions. And it said, like, these are our top priorities. Like, if it's not on this list, it's not that we don't care about it, but these are our top 8 things. And they were things like property rights and ending the Fed. And I believe ending the drug war is on there. Anti-identity politics. So I was like, anti-identity politics. Didn't your presidential candidate say Black Lives Matter? And they're like, don't worry about that. They're like, don't worry. And I had kind of heard about them. And the reason I had heard about them was they had their convention. The Mises Caucus took over the Libertarian Party in March in New Hampshire, because they had their convention in March, and basically most of the people who showed up at the convention were like Mises Caucus people. And the thing that got my attention was what happened with a dude named Nick Sarwark. And I had heard his name before, but my first encounter with Nick Sarwark was like the week before the convention. He got into a Twitter fight with James Lindsay. And I had no idea who Nick was, except that I knew that he was going to James Lindsay's Wikipedia entry to try to smear him. And of course, James Lindsay's Wikipedia entry is like hilarious. And so they were getting into it on Twitter, and I'm like, who is besmirching James Lindsay? Who is besmirching them? And so I was like coming into James Lindsay's defense, not really knowing who Nick Sarwark was, but like going at him just because he was going at James Lindsay. And I was like, you will not go at James Lindsay. You will not do it. I will defend James Lindsay's honor. Not that he needs my help, but I will, usually come to his back when something is going on. And I later found out that Nick Sarwark was like the former national chairman of the Libertarian Party. And this becomes relevant when we get to the New Hampshire Libertarian Convention back in March. Because what happened is Nick Sarwark had moved to New Hampshire, not the chairman of the National Party anymore, moved to New Hampshire, and he somehow got himself put on the ballot for treasurer for the New Hampshire Libertarian Party. So a little bit of a demotion, it might seem, going from national chairman of the party down to state treasurer. Adrian, I see you. I'm going to mod you. Adrian is getting upgraded with mod powers. And so he got put on the ballot. Now, the Libertarians have this quirky thing where for every vote that they have, there has to be a none of the above option. So there was no one else running for treasurer of the New Hampshire Libertarian Party. It was just Nick Sarwark and none of the above. And Nick Sarwark lost. He lost. He lost to no one. He lost to none of the above. Janice, I'll give you some mod powers. Janice Zeal's gonna get mod powers if I can find you in the chat. I'll give you mod powers. Okay. And as this is happening, I'm getting all these messages from the Republicans that I'm like working on the bill with. Oh, Godard Bazaar is going to get mod powers. I see you, Godard Bazaar. And if you guys don't want mod powers when I bless you with them, just let me know, and I will remove your mod powers if you don't really want the wrench next to your name. Um, so I started getting these messages from all these like Liberty Republicans like, Carlin, are you paying attention to what's going on at the Libertarian convention? Nick Sarwark just lost to no one. He lost an election to no one. They hate him so much. I was like, what the hell is going on? And so that was why I started looking more seriously at the Mises Caucus and the Libertarian Party. I was like, that's a boss move. What are you guys doing? And so they handed me this 8-point platform where we were out for beer and a pretzel. And I was like, you know what? I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think it was possible that the Libertarian Party would have their shit together more than the Republican Party. Because I had been asking for like a platform or a vision or something from the Republican Party for months. I was like, what does the GOP even stand for? I don't even know. It seems like a bunch of crazy people running around with like chickens with their heads cut off. I don't even know what you stand for anymore. But the libertarians, the people who literally don't believe that like government should be involved in anything. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna turn the sound up on my mic on my headset so I can actually hear myself better because I feel like I need to shout right now. I was like, if the Libertarian Party can come up with an 8-point platform when they don't believe the government should be involved in anything, then what the hell is the GOP's excuse? What is the excuse? What is the excuse that the GOP cannot come up with a dang platform and the libertarians can do it? And I started to get really disgusted. KG, I just think you're awesome and inspiring. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you being a member on the channel. So I was kind of like, hang on. The Republicans are screwing around. The Libertarians, and especially the Mises Caucus, like they're making some moves. And guys, like if you don't know, like the Mises Caucus nationally is slowly but surely gaining control completely above board, like going to state conventions, getting their people elected to the state to like the state party in like the executive committee, stuff like that. They're slowly gaining power the right way. They're going and campaigning and recruiting people to the party and bringing new people in, and they're going and gaining a lot of power in the Libertarian Party. I'm like, okay, the Mises Caucus actually looks kind of awesome. There is actually kind of a MAGA vibe. I actually think, oh, Naruto, I'll make you a mod. I'll make you a mod, Naruto. We're best friends. Best friends is apparently a new thing on my channel. I was gonna make a mayo emoji today, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. Ben, were you literally out for a beer and a pretzel, and are you just saying that figurative? No, we were literally out for beer and a pretzel. Yeah, not like a little pretzel, like a big goddamn pretzel. I must know for $5 I deserve an answer. Yes, I literally did meet with the Mises Caucus guys over a beer and a pretzel. I'm gonna make a best friends emoji too. And you know, New Hampshire is a little quirky in that because the libertarians don't have ballot access, for a while I was actually both a member of the Libertarian Party and the Republican Party at the same dang time. Which you can do, you just can't get elected to like the executive committee of the Libertarian Party, but I don't really care about that right now. Like I have no desire to be on the executive committee, at least like maybe someday far off in the future, but like not right now because I'm like learning. I'm like a baby libertarian. I'm learning. Dragon water. I wish more people would make new things instead of co-opting good things. I miss good soft pretzels. Yeah, this pretzel's pretty good. That's okay. I mean, like I would prefer you do locals than super chat. And locals is gonna be getting I'm gonna be doing live streaming on my locals pretty soon. So don't you worry. I know that they've set it up. I just need to like email them or something. And I've had a busy week, so I haven't gotten to it. So I basically just decided to join because I really liked what the Mises Caucus was doing, and I liked what they're doing, and they added me to like they have like signal chats and they have like all these groups, and I just started getting to know people, and like the vibe is good and it feels good, and I really enjoy all the people in it, and I find that I align with a lot of their positions more, and so at some point it was just like the Republican Party is basically a dumpster fire. I don't feel good. I don't trust anyone. Like, why am I even in the Republican Party when it's all gone to hell? How much does my locals cost? $5 a month or $50 a year? Jaya, I don't know if I trust your judgment anymore. I might have to take your moderator abilities away. I don't know if I trust you anymore. It's basically the same as eating mayo. Oh, you were magically unsubbed from my channel? I am shocked. Guys, just do a quick double check to make sure you are actually subbed to my channel if you want to be subbed to my channel, because YouTube does this crap to me all the time. Please double check and make sure you are still subscribed if you want to be subscribed. And so the Republican Party is basically a dumpster fire. I'm feeling very unwelcome there. The Libertarian Party of New Hampshire is awesome. I'm feeling extremely welcome there. So I was like, screw this. Like, I don't want to be a Republican anymore. And I left. That's it. That's why. It was a mistake to join in the first place. I did it for the wrong reasons. Because I did it basically to troll Lauren Witzke. And I think that if I also do think that there was you know, I won't say I did it entirely for the wrong reasons. That's a little bit of a exaggeration. I really wanted the Republican Party to be the Republican Party that I saw before the election. That's what I wanted more than anything else. I really wanted the Republican Party to be the party that I saw before the election. And I wanted it so badly, and I think that part of the reason that I think I ended up joining, it wasn't just to troll Lauren Witzke, although that's like a fun story. But I think I just really I was like, I feel like, you know how sometimes in relationships, okay, I will give you an update. Yes, I am now, we're restored. Yes. I'll give you an update on the crisis in the Libertarian Party, which is pretty, like, having seen this from, like, okay, I'll get to that in a second, but, like, I really just wanted the Republican Party to be better than it was. I really wanted it. You guys know how sometimes in relationships, like, you like the person and you desperately want it to work out, and because you desperately want it to work out so badly, you kind of, like, trick yourself into thinking that it's something different than what it is, just because, like, you don't wanna break up. You want to be in the relationship. Maybe you really have a good time with this person sometimes, but there's also a lot of bad stuff that you're like, I can just get through the bad stuff if I can just focus on the good stuff, and maybe the bad stuff will go away. Do you guys all know what I'm talking about? That's what it was like with the Republican Party with me. That's what it was like. I wanted them to be better than they were. Now, I don't necessarily need to belong to a party. I was an independent for a full year. But it just so happened that I connected with the Mises Caucus guys, and I really like them, and I think that they're good, and I align with them on a lot of policy. And I'm not like a full on like anarcho capitalist or anything. I don't even know all their little acronyms yet. Um, but I will say that, like, I think above all, we need to be moving in that direction. I might not be yet, although I'm open to my position changing. I might not be yet like all the way there on all of the issues, but I'm absolutely for moving in that direction. And the Republicans aren't doing that. The Republicans are moving towards the Democrats. So if the Libertarian Party can just like pull people a little bit at a time, I'm totally in favor of that. The dating for the who, they can be inserted instead of, hang on, the dating for who they can be instead of who they are. Yes, that's exactly right, because I actually do think the Republican Party could be great if it was about the MAGA people. Like, I love the MAGA movement. I'm sorry, I really do. It's fun. Trump rallies are fun. Trump rallies are the best. I'm like, if I get a chance to go to another Trump rally, I'm definitely going. Because they're fun. And I like all that energy, and I feel like I can see the potential of them. And that is kind of like even why it's worse when they just don't meet up to expectations. And so I joined the New Hampshire Libertarian Party, and I joined the Mises Caucus. I joined the National Party too, just for good measure. And it is cool, man. It's cool. I'm enjoying it so far. And then a little over a week ago, the New Hampshire Libertarian Party was the target of a hostile takeover and a coup attempt, which I have documented on this channel. And was it a little over a week ago? I don't even know. Time is meaningless. A week or two ago. And the coup has been successfully foiled. It has. So basically, I'm not going to go through the whole saga because I'm kind of losing my voice and I want to do call-ins. So guys, we're going to do call-ins in a minute. Actually, why don't I do this? Here's what I'm going to do. If you want to call in, I'm going to post the link in the chat and you can come in on a webcam or an audio. And so, make yourself look pretty or whatever you want to do. I'm going to post the link to call in. And we'll do it that way, and I'll pin it to the top of the stream for now. We might get some trolls, but I can just boot their asses out. It's really not that big of a deal. Did I pin it to the top? Oh, I did. Okay, good. So then this whole drama with the New Hampshire Libertarian Party, essentially the state chair enacted a coup attempt in which she tried to form her own rogue organization and take over the party. And essentially, what's coming out is that this was a total collusion effort with the national chairman of the party, and the national chairman actually ended up resigning. He ended up resigning over this entire thing. So the party is back. I think the Mises caucus is stronger than ever. There's still some stuff that's being worked out, but it's been a fascinating, and I mean fascinating, thing to witness from the inside. And so I've really been enjoying it. And I'm sure I'll be talking much more about that. And again, I'm going to PorcFest this week, big libertarian festival. I'm going to try to stream a little bit up there. I'm going to post some content from up there. And so hopefully it can bring, I've never been to PorcFest before. I'm a little bit nervous about it, actually. All right, guys. So that's the story. Let's do some call-ins. And I want to start off first with and we're going to just spend a couple minutes with each person, just talking about whatever you guys want to talk about. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm happy to offer sage advice. I don't know if anyone wants sage advice from me. I might not be the best person to get sage advice from, but we're going to start off with one of my favorite people. We're going to start off with Janice Zeal. Hello, Janice.
Hey, how goes it? My house manager did my hair with the #1 razor. So I'm getting ready to finally have social justice hair. See, here's the thing though. I actually have gone to the capital of Minnesota and rallied and spoken with my representatives about things that impact the autism and broader disability community. So I've actually done social justice.
You've done real social justice.
Yeah, so I believe everyone should have access to everything in the community, and they should have the supports that they need and the funding for the supports that they need. So I've actually done stuff. I've actually written representatives, long form, longer than the messages I send you, by the way, letters on why this or that would affect someone like me or how it would. But
that means that you've already done more than most people in the Republican Party.
Well, I believe that makes me more of a warrior than most people who say that they're social justice warriors. And as for social justice hair, and I'm sorry unfortunately, part of autism is getting stuff stuck in your head.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I can't stop looking at you going, "Oh, damn it! You're smothering your social justice hair."
Oh, and sorry.
It's like that's no, the hat's awesome, by the way. And it's like that hair in Monsters Inc. With the bad guy that's dating Mike Wazowski.
It is. Well, I was wearing it under a hat all day, so I wasn't gonna make it look pretty for you. I'm not even wearing makeup, so the hat comes in handy when I'm being lazy about it.
Yeah, and I'm really sorry you had to go through that fiasco with somebody trying to deport your husband, Mr. Borisenko. Is it pronounced Borisenko? What are you saying?
Yeah. Borisenko. So you got it perfectly. Yeah, I mean, he's not in any danger of being deported. He has a
no, don't worry. I'm not triggered or anything. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I get called illegal here all the time. My housemate constantly screams at me, "Shut up, illegal! Stop being repetitive."
Oh, that's not very nice, is it?
I just tell him to screw off.
I think that is exactly the correct answer. Well,
I'm so used to it. I grew up in. I've told you this before, and again, I don't mean to dump my life story on you, but
That's
I
all
do
right.
care about you. I grew up in a pretty hard, medical group home where, the staff are not your mom and dad. If you get beat up, that's your own problem.
I'm really sorry.
No,
You know,
it
but
made me who I am. It's why I info dump on you about Spiral all the time, because a lot of that was inspired by, friends in the group home setting sticking together, because we had to stick together. We had to have each other.
oh, and it's great that you had each other. And I do love, Jana sends me drawings all the time that he does and stuff like that. And I really love receiving them, and they make my day. And you sent me one,
I sent the
one in
drawing.
color the other day. You never sent me stuff in color, but you sent me a color one the other day, and I really liked that
And
one.
I'm also really interested in possibly doing that shirt. Could we talk about that at some point? The CRT.
Make CRT a television
monitor
again?
Well, I'm a computer guy too. I also rebuild and refurbish computers. So,
well, why not? We'll have to talk about that. But I want to move on to some other callers. But thank you for being my very first call.
Sorry, my Sagittarius was showing.
Oh, you're just fine. You're just fine. I wanted to put you number one because you're one of my favorites. So thank you for doing a call.
Nice day. Bless.
Bye. Okay. All right. I'm just going to go basically in order. I see we got a whole bunch of call-ins. So I'm just going to go basically in order, and I recognize some of you and I don't recognize some of you. So we're going to see if there are any trolls. Maybe that'll be fun. All right. Next up is 69A. Welcome to the stream.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I was listening into the debate with you and Gothics, and
oh yeah,
and one of the things that struck me when you guys were talking was that something that never comes up in conversation is intention. And we all know that, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but they were talking about police and the military and, the CRT and stuff like that. And, and having been in the military and worked with law enforcement and stuff like that, the intention is, I feel like it's just something that we inherently know, that somebody's there to either do us harm or do us good, or like, why is that not in all of this theory? You know what I mean? Like, when as a soldier we went over to go do our job, and we would go to these different villages, and they knew our intentions by our body languages, how we were inserted and working with law enforcement. If people knew the way that you presented yourself, not having spoken a word, that you were there to cause a problem or arrest people or just investigate, or it just, why is that not a part?
Well,
do you think it's even relevant? I want your opinion on that. Do you understand what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you what they say, which is that, and I do not agree with this philosophy at all, because I think intention is something that is incredibly important, and I agree with everything that I heard you say. But in critical race theory, what they say is it's about impact, not intention. So it's basically their excuse to try to have conversations about like soft skills. They're only concerned with like, did you hurt my feelings? Did something bad happen? Did I perceive something bad to happen? And if you hurt their feelings or whatever the issue happens to be, then what they're going to say is, well, your intention doesn't matter, your impact matters, and you need to apologize anyway.
But they're putting the cart before the horse, because you have to have intent before you can have impact. And all these microaggressions, like, you don't even have to say something, and then they're like, oh, well, the way that you looked at me.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, microaggressions aren't really like, so I've looked actually extensively at research around microaggressions, because I was trying to figure out like how to like, because like even before I was doing any of this, I like microaggressions were one of my first indicators of like this woke shit, because it was coming up in my organizational clients. And so I started to look into the research on it. And basically the only researcher that believes that microaggressions are a real thing is the guy who invented them. And everyone else is like, this is not a real thing. But the guy who invented them makes a metric F ton of money consulting off of it. And so like this narrative has been pushed around microaggressions, where essentially like if you hurt someone's feelings and that person happens not to be white or part or a man or whatever it happens to be, then you're guilty of whatever racism or misogyny or any of these things, whatever it happens to be. And unfortunately, they just don't take intent into the into the context, because they're like, you hurt my feelings and blah 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 blah, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah, because I came out of the army and seeing all of this in the civilian sector, because I wouldn't say that we're kind of shielded from it. We have our own culture. We have our own dynamic with the way that we work with each other, the way we interact with each other, the respect that's shown. That's just inherent, regardless of whether you like that person or not. It's not that person that you're respecting. It's their rank, it's their achievements, it's what they've done. It's the esprit de corps, if you will. And I get out here in this landscape and I'm looking around and I'm going, what in the hell happened?
Well, let's wait for it though, because the military has a lot of new diversity positions.
Of course
they do.
Yes.
So the military is going woke, and I'm interested to see how that's gonna go for them. I mean, they even teach it in like the introductory classes at West Point, so we'll have to see.
Well, if I can give you a little bit of inside information as an infantryman,
just
we have
you,
our
me,
own
and the internet.
just a little insider information for anybody who cares, and I'm sure that there's other veterans out there. As a soldier in an infantry unit or a line unit, what we call it is we have our own dynamic. It's exactly what you would think that someone would say is toxic masculinity. We beat each other up, we grab each other, like we push each other, we get drunk with each other, we make jokes that, like we do a lot. Like, it's very politically not correct, but it's the other side of the line units, the supports, the signal, the arms room guys, the administrative guy, the cooks, those are the ones that really kind of push this, because we had EO, which was the equal opportunity training, and then it became sharp, so that was kind of, I think that was 03 is when they changed it from EO to a sharp, and that was kind of their internal thing, saying, hey, we want to really kind of push this equal opportunity thing there. But I didn't see anything other than that wasn't, again, maybe I was blind to it, but at the same time, like, if you had your promotion points, you were a good soldier, you shined your boots, you did your job, you showed up, you passed your PT test, you did everything that you needed to do, like, you would get promoted. Nobody got overlooked because of their race, color, or creed. Right. But it's kind of like outside of the infantry that that all that woke stuff really started to take hold as I was getting out anyway. But as the line units, the infantry guys, the boots on ground that really get it done, those guys will never change. I can promise you that. That takes a special kind of person that has, can I cuss?
Yes.
That gives zero fucks. You have to be an infantryman, you really do have to have zero fucks. But, again, the intention, I felt like that wasn't ever being addressed anywhere, like, people can see your intent,
You're right about that, and I want to thank you for your service.
No, don't do that. I just did my job.
Well, and I want to just
Sure.
Thank you for calling in tonight. I appreciate.
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. And I'm glad that you gave me a shot. And I'm not a troll, I promise. You're great. I love you. I follow you on Twitter. Keep it up. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
I got your back. Whatever you need, let me know.
I appreciate it, my friend. I hope to see you in future chats.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys take care.
Have a good one. Bye. All right. Okay, this is going well so far. No trolls yet. All right, next up, we have Nonpartisan Media. Welcome to the stream.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Not bad. We've actually spoken a few times on Twitter. Don't worry, I'm not a troll either.
Excellent.
I just wanted to address the thing you're talking about with the mega movement and the Republican Party.
Sure.
What I see happening at the moment is there's very much not a civil war, but a divide between the two sides of the Republican Party. You have the mega movement and you have the establishment still, like the Schumer, not Schumer, but the old guy that was in the House. But I was going to say, but at the end of the day, I've gone blank. I've just woke up. But I was going to say, but at the end of the day, don't give up on the Republicans just because you think that the mega movement would be great. Because the way I see it is that it's still very much a takeover of the Republican Party. I think that the mega movement still is the future of the Republican Party. And it's just what you're seeing at the moment is it's halfway through sort of the change that's going to happen. And we know Trump's going to run in 2024. And when he runs again, the mega movement will spin up again. And hopefully we can vote out some of these establishment cronies that are ruining things for the Republican Party, and we can make it a purely mega movement. Mm-hmm. And if we can do that, then I'm all aboard yeah, I agree with you. I want the establishment out of the Republican Party as much as anybody else does. I think like the way that like this whole January 6th thing and all that, like I think it was a complete sham.
Oh, I do too. I agree with you on that. 100%. And you know what? Like, I mean, listen, like I will always retain hope for the Republican Party. I genuinely hope they get their shit together. I really do. I genuinely do. I'm praying for them. I want to see it. And if they put up good candidates, I will vote for those candidates. Absolutely. But you know, for right this second, I think it's better for me because you know, I'm more of like the bull in the china shop, right? I'm not gonna be this person that's gonna like, you know, have the patience, quite frankly, to play the smooth political game and get elected to like, you know, like these small positions and work my way up for years and years and years. I don't have the patience for it. And so I genuinely hope that the Republican Party does get it together. I will vote for good candidates. And if they do, I will celebrate it and, you know, be thrilled for everyone involved.
That's funny because I used to know someone else who was very much a bull in a china shop and he became president. So...
Well, that was why I was thinking about running for Congress. I'm like, the Republican Party wants this. I can give them that. I can be Trump.
But that's what we need. But that's what the Republican Party needs is they need people that are mega movement to stand up and to fill these positions so that we can get these establishment cronies out of the Republican Party. You know, like at the end of the day, you know, you just have to look at like, for example, with Trump. Trump wanted to pull all the troops out of these wars overseas. And you had Democrats and Republicans trying to block him from bringing them home. Like now he needs, well, if he was ever to run again, he needs congressional approval to bring troops home. It's like he's supposed to be the president. Why does he need congressional approval to bring someone home, but he can declare war on a whim? It's a way of blocking people.
It is insane. And like, just, you know, the establishment being exposed in the way it was. And I actually think, you know, for me, you know, you know, obviously I wasn't a fan of the second impeachment hearing, but in some ways I was, because I felt like, you know, the gift that Trump really gave us at the end is the absolute exposure of the establishment in the Republican Party. And the fact that they hate him just as much as the Democrats hate him.
Yeah, he showed who the establishment was, and we do thank Trump for that because now we have a lovely list. Everybody that voted for his impeachment needs to be kicked out.
I agree 100%.
Test out the Republican Party. Yeah, I don't care if I expected the Democrats to vote for him. That's fine. But the people that or even the people that sat there and said, you know, oh, we would have voted for him, but it's not constitutional because he's no longer in the president. Like even that, I'm like, maybe your seat should be taken by someone else.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think the voters should be ruthless. And quite frankly, I'm going to be honest. I think that it would be better to lose a little bit in 2022 if it meant sending a very clear message to the Republican Party to stop putting up shitty candidates. Because what happens is like everyone talks about primarying. And I agree with that. And I do think that some candidates, I cross my fingers that Adam Kinzinger especially is going to get primary because I can't stand that guy. I hope Liz Cheney gets primaried. I hope all these things happen. But the reality is like sometimes, like most of the time, the candidate doesn't get primaried. And then what happens is the Republican voters go in and vote for them anyway, because they're like, well, I guess we have to. And then you end up with these shitty candidates over and over and over and over and over again. I'm like, just don't vote for them. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
And yes, I understand you'll lose, but you're going to get, like, I would rather lose a little bit in 2022 and learn the lesson for 2024 than to lose in 2024. I'll tell you that.
Well, and that's what I think people like you, me, you know, obviously you do a bigger stand than me, but like people like Tim Pool, all these sort of people, right? What we need to be doing is we need to be calling out these people for the establishment that they are, so that there is a very big divide between what you, me, Tim, all these YouTubers, what we talk about, and the public. You go down the street and you talk to someone down the street, they have no idea of half the stuff that's going on.
No, they really don't. And I didn't either, so I totally get it, you know, before all
that. But that's what we need to be sort of calling out, these establishment shills. And I don't really blame Trump per se so much for endorsing that candidate that you were talking about earlier. He's probably just been told that he's a candidate.
I agree.
So, yeah. But what we need is someone to turn around and say, like, especially people like Tim Pool and people like you who have a large audience, need to be turning around saying, no, hang on, these are the establishment. These are the people that we need to be. These are the people we need to be kicked out of the Republican Party. We need to be putting these ones up.
Hey, I ragged on the Republican Party for the last 6 months, and they basically told me, Carlin, we don't care what you think, get out. I was like, all right, fine, deuces.
Also, yeah, don't be too hard on the Republican Party, because there's some people that maybe, I don't know, catering to their base a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean by that, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
Nonpartisan Media, I'm going to move on to the next caller, but thank you for calling in, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.
Yep, see you soon. Bye.
All right, these call-ins are going great so far. I love it. Okay, Gail McCoy, you're next. Hi, Gail.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Perfect. Thanks for taking my call. And I also want to say hi, Carlin.
Hi.
I sent you a message on Twitter. I was wondering if I want to do something to help. I want to do anything I can to help. Is there like a way that you could point me to what streams I need to watch, what I need to look for, things that, you know, I should be letting other people know, kind of like hire me as your intern, but you don't pay me?
Well, how do you want to help?
Well, I want to help with the critical race theory. I have 2 children that are actually half Black, and I worry about their future. I worry about all children's futures from here on out. But yeah, I would like to help with that. And, you know, I watched that creepy guy, the white positivity.
Oh God, right?
Yeah,
oh
I watched
God,
the one that
worst.
you watched, or that you talked about, and then I watched the one that he did yesterday.
Oh, how was that one? I'm not watching that.
Oh, well, he talked about you, obviously.
Yes, so I've heard.
Yeah, but it's just creepy. And I watched it with that blonde or whatever, and that Jared George, I think was his name.
Oh,
the whole thing just made me super uncomfortable. So I would like to help you fight that, because I think that is the worst thing that can happen.
So, you know, I think that the biggest thing, and I'm sorry, I'm looking a little distracted because I saw Ken in the chat, and I'm looking for Ken to make him a Ken, can you please chat something in so I can find you and make you a moderator? So I think like because like you have kids, and especially because they're biracial, the best advice I would give to you, like, how old are they, if you don't mind me asking?
17 and 16.
Okay, so they're in school. What I would do is I would make it a priority to figure out what their school is teaching and to find that out, because that's going to be the thing that's closest to home, and really parents are able to have more impact like at schools than anywhere else, and the schools are really the biggest thing right now. Like, don't worry about this white, like you know, one of the things I don't think I said is now there are several very good journalists sussing out this white supremacist situation. I've talked to at least four or five different ones that are all working on it. Some who you've heard of, some you might not have, because they're smaller and independent. So don't worry about that. Like, that's going to be taken care of. There has to be more evidence that's gathered, and to be quite frank, like I don't want people sitting with that, because that's toxic. Like that, you know, I don't know if you feel the same way, but like I was in such pain over even having to watch that.
Yes, it made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Everything they talked about. And some of the stuff was just, you know, about why she decided to kind of go, you know, towards more of the white race than, I just can't fathom. I just cannot fathom what is wrong with people. But I know that our school here, I have talked to our school board. I've called my Senator Ben Sass, who never returns my phone calls. I've called my local mayor. I've talked to him. He didn't even know what CRT was.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
I mean, I live in a small town in Nebraska. So I just figured, since it's not really, they're trying to implement certain things here with the equity and the gender, but so far it hasn't been able to go through. So I thought, well, since I know that, maybe I can help, you know, somewhere else, because I just feel like sitting is driving me crazy. And
no, I really think that, like, you know, go to the school board. Like, try to, like, even maybe you could run for school board, get elected to school board, you know, like, focus on what's going on in the schools and figuring out as much there as you can. Another thing maybe you could do is form a parents group with, if you can find different parents that, have kids in your daughter's schools, you guys can get together and talk about this and try to figure out what's going on. And I think that's honestly the most impactful place you can start. I know that like local politics stuff isn't as sexy sometimes, but like it is actually the most impactful thing. And I used to not believe that either, but I absolutely believe it now. So that's probably where I would start. And I would also just, if you really want to like consume as much of the content as you can, listen to what James Lindsay's saying, listen, like look at what Chris Rufo's doing, look at what I'm doing.
Right.
And just like really make sure you're brought up to speed on what's going on, because it's such a complicated issue.
Right.
But after a while, like you're going to be able to identify it easier. And you're like, what I find is that when people are learning about it, everyone reaches a moment where you can see the bigger picture.
Right.
And that's what is really helpful. If we can get to seeing the bigger picture and then helping other people around you to see the bigger picture, that's going to be incredibly impactful.
Well, I don't want to take up too much time. I apologize, but
That's okay.
I wanted to write an op-ed.
Yes.
Because like I said, I live in a small town in Nebraska, but I don't have the vocabulary to be like I'm high school graduate. That's it. I don't have the vocabulary to write anything, but I really do feel like since we're not in New York or Chicago or, the bigger cities where all this stuff is happening more and more, I want people to be aware where I live, what it is, and not to fall for,
Absolutely. I think you should write it. Like you speak very well. Don't
I'm just
doubt
not good
your
at writing.
Well, you know
I
what?
always want to call people. That's why in the Twitter, I'm like, here's my phone number, because I'm so much better at talking than I am writing.
Well, you know what? I'm much better at talking too than I am at writing. And you know what I ended up figuring out how to do? I just write the way I talk. Or even just get a dictation program and just speak. Just say the thing you want to say. And then don't worry about it. Don't edit yourself at first. Just say what you want to say, get it in the Word program or whatever you're using, and then go back and edit later. And you know what? Perfect is the enemy of good enough.
Right.
It doesn't listen, you don't need to write a Shakespearean play. It just needs to be a letter. Just saying, like, here is what I think. And I don't think this is good. And here are the reasons why I don't think this is good. And that's all it really needs to be. And, you can send it to me like in DM on Twitter. I'm happy to help you. But I think you should write an op-ed. I think that would be great.
Okay. I'll try it and I'll send it to you and see what you think. I'd probably have to take out because I say that all the time.
Oh, I say literally all the time. So that's all right.
all right. Well, Gail, thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
All right. It's going well so far. All right. Next up, we have one of my favorites, one of my newest mods, Casper.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. What's up, Casper?
Doing okay. Got your book right here.
Oh, are you liking it?
Pretty well. I've read the first couple chapters. I've been going through some stuff. But anyway, I just want to say I really appreciate you. I'm America First. I'm on disability. I have emotional issues, but I'm fairly articulate. And I agree with you about that no white guilt dude. Total American History X vibes. Fascists that believe in white power and shit, they have a certain look to their face. And this guy looks like a freaking fascist. But anyway, I believe in unity, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm not partisan, really. I believe in libertarian values and taking care of your own and helping out in the community, but not being compelled to, And I believe in good values, and I'm just looking to unify people and try to break down the animosity and find common ground. Anyway.
Well, I think you're a great guy, and hang on, I'm gonna mute you while I'm speaking just because we got a little echo, but that's all right. I think Casper, you're the best. You are a funny guy. Like, you always your jokes always bring a smile to my face, and I've told you this. Like, you have some of the best responses on Twitter, and it always you have you're a good person. You're a good person. And I'm very grateful that, you're in my life.
Thanks. I really appreciate that. And I'm glad you're in my life. And I understand being so passionate about something that it just kind of spins you out of control. And like, I'll be honest, yesterday I was up about 29 hours. So I was spinning and thinking lots of different things, and that happens to me quite a bit. And sometimes it's really hard to force yourself to focus and concentrate on the positive when there's so much negative out there to drag you in. So that's what I'm looking for is, people who want to be positive like me. On Twitter, I have a couple hundred followers, and I mostly follow people like me that have more followers than they do followers themselves. And if you got, I love America and I support the Constitution in your profile, I'm going to follow you probably.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope you enjoy the book, and I know it'll give you some tips and tricks on maintaining a positive mindset. I mean, it's for the work environment, but honestly, you can apply it to like anything. There's a lot of good stuff in there, and I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. One more thing I just want to say. Yeah, the mindfulness stuff is really going to be helpful. I just want to say one more thing to the whole community. Hang in there. We're going to have our ups and our downs, but just try to find a place and try to be kind to people as much as possible. I know there's that instinct where you want to attack, pull back, if you can, and just try to find good common ground and try to be kind, try to see, I mean, there are going to be trolls, but then there's going to be people that just, think that your tone is a little, I mean, not you, but a person's
tone. Okay, you're criticizing my tone. It's okay.
No, I don't.
I know it's done with love.
It's all good. We can do that in private. But anyway, you're cool. Thanks.
Thank you, Casper. Appreciate it. Have a good one. All right. Oh, well, Charles, thank you, Charles, for the nice big super chat. Gail McCoy, there is a program called Grammarly that is fantastic for edits. I want to co-sign this. I love Grammarly. Grammarly is the best. I don't know what I would do without Grammarly. I think that it's awesome. And I co-sign that wholeheartedly. And thank you, Charles, for that super chat. I greatly appreciate it. All right, next up, let me see on our list. We have Jess T. Hi, Jess T. There you are.
Hi.
Good to see you.
I got it figured out, Carlin. I'm so proud of myself. It's all
you did. What
internet.
A lovely green shirt, too. I like your green. I wish I could wear that color, but I can't.
New York and Company. It's the best. Trust me. I hope you can hear me okay. I do have a fan running in the background, but I'll be very brief. I just wanted to say that I totally agree with everything you've said and done. I've always been so impressed with your just feminine oomph. You've always got this sort of motherly, like, listen here, child, take on all of the people who don't necessarily know or don't pick up on these things as quick as you do. But I also wanted to say that I think people need to be kind of careful, because now that we're aware of this movement coming up, we should be careful not to be too harsh on people who use terms like anti-white. And I know you're aware of this, but this is more for the audience, using terms like anti-white and things, because you don't want to ostracize people right away. I've noticed a lot, because I pay attention to everybody, and this is why I'm against censorship. You and I are both now porcupines in the Libertarian movement.
Yay!
So I figure everyone should just be very, very careful about what terminology and what words they use, but they also need to be gentle about correcting people who don't know as much about critical race theory, especially if they haven't followed Carlin's channel. And that we shouldn't ostracize people so much. Ramsey Paul was called out in the stream by No White Guilt. And he's actually someone who people might immediately assume is white identitarian or white supremacist when he isn't. And I think people need to be careful about people who identified as former alt-right before Richard Spencer and all of the identitarians took over versus no longer alt-right, but they still do care about their own tribe, as it were. And I think that if you study linguistic propaganda and also just linguistics generally, you're going to learn a lot about why people get so tribal. Even if they don't say they have an identity with the group, they can end up having one. And it's just one of those things where you just have to be gentle and talk it out with them and explain it to them. And I just want everyone to be aware of that, because I know you guys, you've seen this on Locals, that a lot of people get very gung-ho because we all love you there. And by the way, everyone, join Carlin's Locals because she's the best. I absolutely love her. And you all will too. She's amazing, and she does so much work for the movement. But just be gentle with people, because a lot of people don't necessarily know all of the ins and outs of the situation. So I just don't want everyone jumping on the bandwagon, as it were.
No, I think it's a fair point, and I want people to know too, and I think this is important context that not everyone necessarily. Oh, good, we got a nice troll in the chat right now. Like, this is important context. I'm glad you brought up this point, because I co-sign this. I don't want people berating people for using the term alt-white, anti-white. I don't want that. I do think that people need to understand the context, though, that I was doing this in that I was being mobbed by thousands of these people, and they were showing up in my comments. And I was just trying to manage this. And one of the things that was very, very consistent about it is they were all throwing this anti-white thing at me. And so it got to the point where I was like, this is the only way I can identify these people in order to block them. And so that's why I was like, you say this in my stream, you're going to get blocked. And like, if you don't want to get blocked, like, don't say it right now, because I was just going through block, because there's just too many people. And so what I will say too is, if you think that I wrongly blocked you, just send me an email. Just send me an email and say, I think you wrongly blocked me. And, most of the time I will just unblock you. Like, I there's not gonna be like a litmus test or anything, but it was just one of those things where it was an extraordinary circumstance, and I did the very best that I could to manage it.
Yeah.
But I understand your point generally, and you're saying more generally to people. And I do agree that now that like the major trolling seems to have passed, I do agree.
Yeah, I don't think you did anything wrong. I just don't. I know how much people can kind of fangirl or fanboy over like influencers or commentators, and I know you don't necessarily think of yourself that way, but you do influence a lot of people. I mean, I'm such a social isolationist. I never really get outside my own community too much, and so, you really influenced me. So I can understand how other people might be influenced enough to say, well, whatever Carlin says just is 100% true, or whatever so-and-so says is 100% true, and people can get very invested in those things. So gently kind of bringing people back into that reality framework of, be careful who you follow, be careful who you listen to, and also always thinking critically, I think, is really important. And thanks to Jaya, by the way, because she was the one who was just like, just go on there, Jess. It's fine. Oh. And I was like, well, I don't think I have much to say. I don't have anything profound to say. But at the same time, I was like, I love Jaya. She's always in our Zoom calls. So I was like, I'm gonna take Jaya's word for it. I'll become a part of this. So
Jess, you always have something to say, and I always enjoy hearing what you have to say. Anything else for tonight before we move on?
Nope, that's it. I'll see you on Tuesday.
Cool. Yeah, see you on Tuesday, and thank you for the Locals plug. Have a good night.
Yep, you too.
Oh, thank you. All right, guys, and if you want to join my Locals, please, kb.locals.com. I think it is down there somewhere. Yeah, so if Jen, you blocked me for pointing out that rights are pathologically low in in-group preference, yeah, because that's kind of racist. It's kind of racist. It's a little bit racist. So, and I mean it, guys, if you think that I wrongly blocked you, just reach out to me. Send me an email. You probably can't, send me a DM if I blocked you. But like, I actually like, I've blocked a lot of people, and, I've only had like a handful actually reach out to me and say, Carlin, can you just unblock me? And I've unblocked them every single time. So I'm not an unreasonable person, but I was dealing with a very unmanageable situation. I did the best I could, and I'm sorry if you didn't like my tone. So next up, we have Brooks. Hi, Brooks.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Carlin. I wanted to call in and just say thank you so much for your show. I do enjoy listening to Ben Shapiro and Louder with Crowder, but yours is particularly special because it's always more mind-opening instead of entertainment, although there is that aspect as well. I had a few things that I just wanted to mention. I guess I'll start with the one that's least happy, I suppose. I was just listening to Louder with Crowder today, and on the show today, which for anyone who watches the stream later, it's the 21st of June. At timestamps 16 minutes and also at 26 minutes, it wasn't Stephen particularly, but the other guys, they did the thing that you were saying where they started talking about critical race theory and they called it anti-white. And
Those
they did it like
bastards.
Right. And I don't think they're like white supremacists or anything.
No,
I just
they're
think
not white supremacists.
Yeah. But the thing that makes them so successful is also the things that makes them somewhat short-sighted and maybe just a bit too harsh and can fan the flames, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And I never would have noticed that without your show.
Well, and I appreciate you bringing that up. And I want to say that, there's been some fake news and that apparently people are saying that I think that everyone who says CRT is anti-white is a white supremacist.
No.
Of course, I don't think that. That's ridiculous. But, I mean, this is a learning process. And listen, like it didn't occur to like any of us that this was a thing until like this week. Mm-hmm. And, but it's one of those things that now that we know it's a thing, at least I've been able to attract journalists to the issue that can report on it. And mm-hmm. once we have like, published like articles in places, I think it's going to be much easier to educate people about what's going on and about why it's just not smart to use this language. And it's like, it's one of those things that like, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it.
Right. I wanted to ask you, I wonder if there's a similar dynamic with I remember a few years ago, instead of saying critical race theory, a lot of the thing was patriarchy or that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if people say it's anti-man, then that can get not a lot of people, but a significant small group mm-hmm. of men who just feel like they're under attack. And it's just like this manpower movement. I wonder if there's a similar thing there. I don't know.
Well, absolutely. I think anytime a group of people, like of any characteristic, is taught that they are bad because of who they are, you're mm-hmm. naturally going to form, like I always say, like life is about balance, right? Anytime mm-hmm. something happens over here, something's going to happen over here. And so this white supremacist thing it was going to happen at some point. And I feel like maybe we've caught it early enough that it can still be manageable. But I do think like anytime you have something here, there's going to be something here. And this is why it's important not to put people down based on immutable characteristics.
Mm-hmm. So do you mind if I say two more things? Sure. I really appreciate your story of, joining the Republican Party for a little while, voting for Trump and then leaving and really just making your own independent decisions. I didn't vote in 2016. I did vote in 2020. And when I voted in 2020, what I did was I voted locally and I looked up the platforms of all of the people who were running, no matter what their party was. And I voted for whose platform I agreed with the most. And then just a few weeks ago, you were detailing Chris Sununu's BS over there in, where is it, New Hampshire?
Yep.
And, I thought to myself, I guess looking at the platform is better than just voting out of party affiliation. But it's not as good as looking at their voting record and enthusiasm and public mm-hmm. statements like you did with Chris Sununu.
Yeah, no, it's tough. And I say, it's hard when you just don't have the opportunity to do that. And, frankly, if I hadn't been involved with this bill in New Hampshire, I probably wouldn't know any of this. Mm. So it's just a happenstance that I happen to know this.
All right. So I'm going to end on a slightly happier note, or at least I think it's happy. I got hired as a public high school math teacher in the fall.
You're not going to teach any racist math, are you?
That's correct. I will not teach any racist math. And that means I will have a steady income and I will be supporting creators like you. I'll be joining your locals. And I'm thinking about setting up a camera in my classroom. I was thinking about doing it before your hashtag, but I am all in for it now with the cameras in schools hashtag.
You totally should. I'm very supportive of this. I have like about 6 Republican lawmakers in New Hampshire on board with the cameras in classrooms bill for the next legislative session. So we legitimately might be seeing this, at least in New Hampshire. I don't think it would pass, and I think it would really piss off the teachers unions, but I think they're going to try it. And I think it's going to be very exciting.
I'm so happy. I will follow that bill and see how it goes, and maybe see if I can get something stirred up here in Utah along those same lines. Thank you very much for your time, Carlin.
Well, thank you, Brooks. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Yep. Bye.
Right. Bye. All right. Let's see. Next up, we have Patrick with his very professional looking setup, much more professional than me. Hello, Patrick.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So I had a few questions for you. The first one is, I hear you throw around the term white supremacist quite often.
We got a troll. Excellent. I'm going to have this conversation with you, Patrick.
I know that you're new to all of this, but troll refers to someone who's coming in bad faith and just messing with you. All of the questions that I'm going to ask you are in good
troll. This is a fantastic.
So you use the term white supremacist, racist quite often. What are you referring to when you say someone is a white supremacist? What does that mean?
I knew you were going to do this. I knew it. I saw your setup and I was like, this is going to be the guy that is the troll.
I'm just asking you to define a term that you're using quite often, because I see the left throw that term against conservatives quite often, and I see someone who supported Pete Buttigieg in 2019 coming onto the right a little late, throwing that same term around to attack people who have been pushing back against critical race theory for a little longer than you.
Did you happen
so my question
to read
is, what is
the
a white
article?
Supremacist? Can you define what that means?
Can I answer your question, or are you going to just come on?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm allowing you to stay here right now, and I'm willing to have a conversation.
Answer the question. Let's hear it.
If you keep interrupting me, I'm going to boot you off the stream. So if you want me to answer the question, you're going to be polite.
I'm all ears. I am all ears.
Did you happen to see the viral article that I wrote in February 2020 where I said I voted for Pete Buttigieg? Was this a great shock that I voted for Pete Buttigieg?
I am aware that you have talked about it, that it's not a secret. But my question was, what are you defining as a white supremacist?
What I'm defining as a white supremacist is anyone that focuses on the well-being, or white positivity, or whatever the hell you guys are calling it now, of the white race to the detriment of everyone else. I do not believe in focusing on anyone in regards to their race, whether you're white, black, brown, Asian, I don't care. I want to focus on people as individuals. And when I'm hearing about a white well-being or white positivity movement with people who are only talking about how you can only have sympathy for people with skin that looks like ours, and that you shouldn't have sympathy for anyone whose skin does not look like ours, I have a little bit of a problem with that.
Okay, well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that really characterizes my perspective, but the issue that I see is that the left has basically said that every race gets to have a sense of identity except for white people, or in the sense, a positive sense of identity, right?
I'm not on the left.
About white identity, you can exist, you can have a white identity, but it has to be negative.
I'm not on the left. I'm not on the left. I know you guys are saying that I am, but I am.
I'm not saying you're on the left. I understand that you're very socially liberal, but you consider yourself on the right. But my question to you, do you think that white people have the moral right to have a positive sense of identity that is in no way negative towards other groups?
I think that every individual has a right to have a positive sense of individual identity, and I think every individual should have a positive sense of individual identity.
Of individual identity, not group identity, though. So you don't think a black person has the right to have a positive black identity?
I think that every single person has the right to an individual positive identity. I think every single person should feel good about themselves, and I genuinely hope that people find a lot of reasons to feel good about themselves that has absolutely nothing to do with how they look.
Do you think it is morally wrong for a black person to have a sense of black identity?
I don't think anything is morally wrong. Honestly,
you don't think anything is morally wrong?
Nope.
So you're a total moral relativist, but you just said that these people that talk about white positivity and white well-being, you don't think there's anything morally wrong with that?
I think those people are dangerous, and history has shown us the danger of those movements, and I think that they are dangerous to
safety and well-being. So you do think there's something morally wrong with that?
Hey, Patrick, we're not interrupting me now. I think that those people are dangerous, and we've seen the danger of these movements in the past, and quite frankly, I don't want to support that type of movement in this country. Absolutely not. No, I think it's dangerous.
Okay, so you just said you don't think anything is morally wrong, but then you just provided a specific example of something that you think is morally wrong.
the way I view the world, I don't think there is necessarily right or wrong. I think everything has multiple perspectives. I know for the type of experience I want to create for my life and the type of values I would like this country to have, I do not believe that a white identitarian movement is a positive move for the country. I do not think it's a good thing. I will not support it. If you want to be a part of it, that's your choice. We all have to make our own decisions.
And there's nothing morally wrong with it.
I think we all live different lives. You are here for a different purpose than I am. We all come here with a different purpose. We all come here with a different thing we're supposed to do, with different lessons that we're supposed to learn. That's what I believe anyway. And your lessons or your experience in this life could very well be part of this white identitarian movement, and that's your choice. But am I going to sit back and just like, okay, white identitarians take over the country? Fuck no, because I don't want that experience in this country. You get one more question. You get one more question.
Is the fact that you're married to an illegal immigrant, do you think that maybe colors your perspective on all of this?
Well, it's not illegal. We had 2 interviews with ICE and they blessed him. So is that your final
question? Wasn't he illegal at one point in time?
Yeah, well, he was not. He was out of status, yeah. And then he was put back, and then he was.
These are the type of people who are worming their way into conservatism, trying to establish themselves as
not a conservative.
They weren't here in 2016. They weren't here in.
Bing! I told him he got one more question, and now Patrick gets banned. I feel like I was the paragon of virtue in that discussion, I have to say. Okay, so to clarify for people in the chat that don't know, my husband came to this country legally. He overstayed his visa. We met. We fell in love. I knew I wanted to marry him on our second date. He got picked up and was going to be deported, and I said, well, time for a marriage. If it was just for the green card, he could have divorced me 6 years ago. We will be together 10 years in November. I love him very much. He is my soulmate. And ain't no bitch gonna call for his deportation on Twitter without me having something to say about it. All right, next up, Stay Salty.
It's me.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. This is the first time I ever did this, but I'm a little nervous. But I've been following you for a while. And I just wanted to tell you just how thankful I am that we've started listening to you when I didn't understand what critical race theory was until I started watching you, and then other channels started talking about it. But I like, you go more in depth, but then it hit me at work in a different way. Like I didn't actually have to sit down in a room and take a class or anything, but I found it on my website by accident. And I was absolutely disturbed by everything I read. And I think I did do some super chats before. I'm Crazy Princess, if you remember me a few times.
Oh yeah, I do remember you. Yeah.
So I just couldn't believe what I was reading. I just never thought, that it would infect everything, every company, the way it has. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable, and I'm so glad that you have found value in my channel. And I just it's weird for me, to be honest, to hear that it's weird for me that people like to hear me talk, to be honest, or that I do things differently. So I do appreciate the feedback, because a lot of times I don't really know what I'm doing when I'm doing this. I'm just kind of talking. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just really, it's just really crazy. I feel like we're going back in time. I'm 33, but or I'm going to be 33, and so I didn't live the 60s, but heard about it. And I know it wasn't a very good time to live. It was a weird, it was weird. It was scary, right? You weren't allowed to be seen with the other race. We're kind of going back that way, or they want reparations. I heard about that today. Seattle is doing a gay pride thing, but they want white people to, if they want to show up, they have to pay anywhere between $10 to $50 for reparations.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. That's crazy.
There's always something crazy going on, no matter. I mean, it's like I don't recognize our country anymore.
Well, listen, I mean, here's the best advice that I have. Like, the world has not gone completely mad yet. There are still a lot of normal people out there. And the best advice I have, if you're having trouble, is to get out there and go do things with people in real life, because most people are still normal. And I understand fully that when you live in this world all day, every day, you can go a little crazy. You can. And we just need to be, doing as much as we can to try to maintain a normal existence, because if you live in this all the time, it's going to eat you alive. So, go out, make sure you're seeing people in real life, get off the internet. Twitter is not real life. And that's the best advice that I have.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I think it's definitely, that's why I think it's a shame. A lot of people getting sucked into the TikTok world.
Oh, God, TikTok sucks.
And I mean, just the crazy stuff on there. People, I mean, I never got into that stuff, but I'm different. I mean, I guess I'm just different than a lot of people got into that kind of stuff. I mean, it took me years to get involved in even wanting a Facebook account, and now I don't even want to support Facebook. But
well, you can only do what you can do, and just embrace your difference. Everyone's a little bit different. Everyone's a little bit weird. It's okay. Just be who you are. Find people who you align with. That's all you can really do. Well,
thank you.
You're welcome. We're going to move on to other callers, but you have a good night, and thank you for calling in.
Thanks, you too.
Bye. All right, guys. I want to do a couple super chats real quick before we continue, and I do see we have a stream of call-ins. Guys, if you want to call in, even if you're a troll and you want to question me the way Patrick questioned me, I'm more than willing to have a conversation, but you need to be polite, because I'm going to boot you as soon as you stop being polite, okay? Jaya super chats in. Can we use this to get Brooks a couple free months of locals? Yes, we can. So, Brooks can message me either by email or through Twitter, and I will give him some free months of locals. And so, Brooks, if you're still watching, please send me a message, and we will hook you up with that. And Gabriel said, your passion for discussion and debate is evident and refreshing. I appreciate that. All right, moving up, we have... Oh, I think we've definitely got some trolls in chat. Excellent. Oh, I see we've got some trolls. Remember, trolls, just keep it polite. We can have a conversation. I'm not going to debate you. I'm not going to get into a back and forth. Just keep it polite, okay? Amanda, welcome to the stream. Hi.
Hi. I was a liberal for 38 years. I'm 42. So, well, 40.
Wow, you
also.
were a liberal a long
2
time.
Years then. But well, pretty much since born until 2 years ago. So, yeah, I red pilled myself, and it's been frightening to say the least. What happened to the liberals? When did they lose their mind?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know, Amanda. And this is honestly one of the scariest things, because it's like, I feel like when you red pill, you start to think back to all the other things. Like when did the lying start? Like how much of what I think is true about history is not true at all. And like the position that I got into it is I kind of decided that I wasn't going to go back and relitigate everything. I was just going to go forward, and that was all I could do.
Oh, I didn't have that problem. I grew up next to my history teacher and my civics teacher, so my history is pretty spot on, thankfully. No, mine's more. I grew up with a really bad stepfather in a very Republican town, old money, small town in Nebraska. Believe it or not. Hey, Gail, I don't know you, but should probably get a hold of you. Oh, in Nebraska, they took advantage of the lockdowns and not being able to go to school board meetings to pass CRT into the schools.
No shit. I'm sorry. That sucks.
OPS for Omaha Public Schools. So if you're in Omaha and you're watching this, it is now in your schools. So I do know that the town that I'm moving to next month, they don't have it in their schools. You just need to call if for any parent out there, call the school and ask them directly, like your child's actual school, because in my experience, they're going to answer your questions faster and easier, or at least be more obvious if they're putting you on or lying, than the board. It's just easier. It's faster. You know those people. You interact with them. Call them and ask if any kind of critical theory, or if there's any new curriculum that's been added within the last year or two, whatever. Because trying to find that information, it took me months even to find that. So then I just called and it was easier. So
I
just wanted to give that advice, but
go ahead.
I've been spending the last, 9 months to a year trying to explain to people who are conservative or Republican or have always been on that side, the difference in the way that the other side even just functions, the way that they think. It is wildly different. I'm married to a conservative.
It is very
have been
different.
For like 18, yeah, and I was hard liberal. I was hard liberal.
You were progressive.
So and he was military even. I mean, so no, not quite. Not quite. No. I was rubbing up against it as hard as you possibly can without taking my clothes off. So I got caught up in that fear 5 years ago. I very much so. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't being as diligent as I used to when I was younger with the news and double checking what they're saying and checking the other sides of the news. Because I mean, come on, it's always been obvious that they're biased, but digging in deeper than what they're saying because they always lie. And I wasn't being as consistent as I had been because I have small children, and that got a hold of me. And it almost caused me to get divorced. More than once. My husband had to completely stop talking to me about politics, period. I was completely irrational. And I thought that I'd gotten over that kind of mind frame as I had gotten out of my 20s and even out of, towards the end of my 30s. But they know how to play to the heart of the liberals.
They do.
Okay, so not the progressives, the crazy peoples, but liberals, they're run by their heart. And the other side is run by their brains.
Well, I don't know.
The two need each other.
I do agree with that. I think the two need each other. I think it's a little bit simplistic. I'm going to be honest. I think that the facts don't care about your feelings crowd often very much.
Very simple. I'm making it very much simple.
Yeah, no, it is. But I think that the facts don't care about your feelings crowd often very much cares about feelings. And I feel how much they care about feelings every time I say something that pisses them off.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. Yeah, I wasn't trying to say that. I was, it's like we have, there's a large, and I'm talking like you're normal or you're average, politics aren't my life. The news isn't my life. So and so forth. We have this, I swear to God, it's like this override button. And they've learned how to press it. The politicians on that side have learned how to press it. And so they wanted who they wanted to end, and they didn't like Trump, and they pressed that damn button, and they kept pressing it to the point where it just broke my button. It's like you can't upset me anymore. I'm going to go look for this information. But so many people are still caught up in that. They're still caught up in that. My daughter is 24 and is socialist.
Well, we don't want that.
Yay.
Well, Amanda, I have to move on to other callers, but thank you for calling in tonight. Any final words? You good?
Actually, I was wondering if I emailed you. Could you get Gail my information?
Gail, I would have to go. Gail would have to email me too. I vaguely know what super chat she's saying, but if Gail emails me and you email me, we can make some connections happen.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Amanda. Have a good one. Bye. All right. We got a couple more super chats. Six Semper Tyrannus says the Seattle Gay Pride Commission said it was K to discriminate because they follow UN Charter for Human Rights. Are you effing kidding me? F that crap. And then we have Shar. Oh, God. That's not Shar. That's Ken. Hang on. I had to go back up and find Char's super chat. I love the mic drop, Kay. I really enjoyed that as well. All right, guys, I have unpinned the call-in number because we got a nice queue of call-in. So everyone who's currently in queue is going to get a chance, even the trolls. I know there are some trolls, and I'm really looking forward to talking to you. And then we're going to wrap up the stream after that because I got other stuff to do. But Morgan, welcome to the stream.
Hello. Hi.
I like your orange. It's very pretty.
Oh, thank you, Carlin. I initially found your show from Adamcast IRL. I saw you in the chat earlier. I'm part of the Nebraska Libertarian Party, and I kind of got inspired to call in because of Gail. So yeah, because she was also from Nebraska, and like she was mentioning Ben Sass didn't get back to her stuff, and that made me frustrated too, because we tried to primary out Ben Sass. We tried, we failed. He still got the nomination, and that's one of those things where it's like I ended up researching my other options. I voted for Gene Sayedek, and that's kind of part of how I got involved with the Libertarian Party. So I wanted to, I guess I'd say, recommend them, like, getting involved in Nebraska, to the people in Nebraska, getting involved with the local Libertarian Party at the county levels, because we are very active and we are growing up from the grassroots.
Excellent. Now, has there been any hostile takeover or coup in Nebraska?
As far as I know, not. But the whole situation with New Hampshire seems like a freaking mess, and I'm sorry that that's probably how a lot of people are learning about us for the first time. Like, that isn't our best look. That isn't the values that we represent. I'm sorry.
But I will say, I think, from my opinion, it seems like a little bit of house cleaning. It seems like it's kind of like better it happened now than in 2024, right?
Yes, better now than later. I mean, it's good that they're figuring out, out of all of this, hopefully we'll come up with better protocols for how to remove members when that comes up, if that needs to happen again. I hope that we come up with better ideas so that this doesn't happen in the future.
I hope there are better ideas as well. But I have to say, it might seem like a little bit of a shit show from the outside, but I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a good, positive thing, and I think it's going to facilitate a good, positive move for the party.
I hope so. I also wanted to recommend, for the people in Nebraska, I don't agree with all of this group's views, but there was a group called Nebraskans Against Government Overreach that I think was protesting against critical race theory in the schools. That would be a resource for people to reach out to. Yeah.
Excellent.
So I wanted to share that resource for the other Nebraskans in the area.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, apparently everyone is from Nebraska, so if
I
everyone's
know,
from
I was
Nebraska,
it was so weird.
It's so random. And who else lives in Nebraska? Brandon Strock.
Oh, is Brandon? I'm not very familiar with Brandon. Was he on Tim at one point?
He was on Tim's show. Yeah.
Okay. I might have seen him then.
Yeah, he's the founder of the Walkaway campaign. So he's from Omaha. So I think that's where he's coming. Yeah.
Oh wow.
All right. Well, Morgan, thank you for joining the chat.
Thank you. Well, I wanted to say, I hope you have a good night. Do you think you'll be on Adamcast again at any point?
I mean, it's really up to Adam. Adam and I have a good rapport. I know that he's moving right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in his life. I am finishing up knitting his sweater. I'm putting the final touches on it.
Are you gonna do a video about that at all?
I am. I have done some videos, and then I got lazy and I stopped making videos about the progress of his sweater. But I will definitely do a video when it's done. There are some videos of it posted on my Instagram, so you can go back and look. But yeah, it's gonna be done soon, and then I will ship it off to Adam's mystery location, and he'll have to model it for all of us.
Oh, nice. Well, I look forward to seeing that. Have a good night.
Thank you, Morgan. You too. Bye. It's like the cutest voice in the world. All right. Free market, free love. How are you?
Hey, Doctor. How's it going?
Good.
Hey, I just want to call in and give my input on my experience with critical race theory in college.
Okay.
And if you look behind me, you'll see portraits of all my ancestors going back over 150 years. My family came from Spain, and they've been in what is now America since the mid 1500s. And I'm very proud of where I came from and all the people who got me to where I am here today. But when I was in college, I was told that all my ancestors were evil. They were colonizers, they were oppressors, and I was told that my ancestors had a unique guilt, and the stain of racism is upon me. And I just wanted to say to you, my generation, I'm 22 years old, and there truly is a visceral feeling of being targeted because we are white. And I just want you to know from my experience that it is a very palpable feeling. And I think you're turning a lot of people off by coming out so strongly against it, even though, I know you had a troll call in and press you on your moral stance or amoral stance. I just want to say this. You've had a lot of trolls call in, and there isn't a block button in real life. And I know many men in my generation are pro-white, and there is definitely a backlash coming to this anti-white agenda. So how will you react when you are speaking in person and we are everywhere, we are numerous? What will you do when we hound you?
Well, the first thing I would say is that you're making threats to me on the internet with your face fully visible, and that might not be the smartest thing you've ever done. But I will say this. Listen, the first thing I want to say is I completely understand that white men are being targeted and that a lot of shit is coming down on you guys. And I really don't want you to think that I'm not unaware of it, and I think it's awful. And I am doing everything I can in my power to try to change this. I spend all of my hours trying to fight back against this because I don't think it's correct. And the thing of it is that I want you to know too, like I have been defending men in the workplace against false accusations of sexual harassment. I've been defending like against all these things because I do think it's incredibly toxic and I do think it's incredibly unfair. Every time I have a CEO come to me and say, I'm not hiring white men right now, I say, no, that is exactly the wrong answer. You need to hire the people that are best for the job. And so I want you to know that I'm trying here to make sure that this goes away and that we can come back to normal. However, getting into a white identitarian movement is not the answer for this. It's simply not. I'm on your team. I would have your back. I would advocate. I would defend, but I'm not going to do it based on the color of your skin. I'm going to do it based on who you are as a person. And when I look at you, I see a person who has a history, has a heritage, very proud of it. I see someone that at 22 years old is extraordinarily well spoken. Like you obviously have confidence, you have that good demeanor, and I want to be an advocate for you, but I don't want to do it based purely on the color of your skin. I would offer the same support and the same advocacy for anyone, and I will be the first person to tell anyone that says I'm not hiring white men or white men are bad or toxic masculinity or all that stuff. All that stuff is bullshit, and I will freely say that, and I will go to bat. But what I cannot defend and what is absolutely going to destroy my work in this area is if anti-white becomes the centerpiece of the movement, because we're playing right into the left's hands when we do that. They want that. They want to be able to point at people like you and say, look at that awful racist. We told you so. And when that happens, I can't defend against that. I can't. It's just, it's too divisive, I think is the best word. And one of the things that we need to do in order to defeat critical race theory and to put all of this behind us is we need to get more people on the left to wake up. And that's something I'm highly conscious of. And they are not going to wake up and support an anti-white thing. It's just not going to happen. So the best advice that I would give to you is that if you really do want to make progress in this area and you want to dial back all this toxicity directed at white men, we have that in common. I want to do that too. but I need you to work with me here in the reality of what's going on. And I've been fighting this for a year and a half now. I know what language plays well with people. I know what language doesn't. And I don't want to sacrifice all of the work that has been done for the pure purpose of being able to label something anti-white, because it's simply just much more complicated than that.
Did you say a year and a half?
Yes.
Well, this fight's been going on for much longer than that. With all
it has. It has.
You know,
I'm not saying I've been fighting it the longest. I'm just saying that that's my experience, and I have dedicated a lot of time to it.
I understand where you're coming from, but I do think there is an element of cowardice to this, because you had a caller call in saying that white people had to pay $20 to go to a pride parade. You yourself admit that there are people openly saying they won't hire white men. And there's no other way to put that other than it is anti-white.
Well, no, because it is much more complicated than that. I could also point to what they did to Senator Tim Scott when he got up and said America is not a racist country, and they vilified him and called him Uncle Tim on Twitter. Like, I mean, there are just as many instances, excuse me, I'm talking. There are just as many instances that I can point out of racism against African Americans that have spoken out about this. There's just as many instances that I can point out of misogyny against women who have spoken out against this. There's just as many that I can point out against Asians that have spoken. I work with Chinese American groups that are fighting back against this. They get this backlash too. And I think that we are on the same page in terms of we don't want this shit to happen. But I do not believe that framing it in terms of anti-white is going to get the outcome that you want. It's going to create a movement that is not going to be controllable. And so I understand your frustration. It's going to spiral out of control in the same way that critical race theory has spiraled out of control. Like, if we're framing this in an anti-white context, all you're doing is creating critical race theory on the right. Critical race theory already exists on the left. Do you want to create the same thing on the right? Because it's exactly the same thing. And critical race theory has spiraled out of control on the left, and we're trying to rein it back in now. If something spirals out of control on the right, we aren't going to have that opportunity. So I'm going to give you one more question, and then we're going to move on.
It seems to me that you're more afraid of the right-wing backlash than you are of critical race theory itself. And to your point where you said we wouldn't have that opportunity to control it from the right side, what do you exactly mean by that? What are you afraid of?
I am equally afraid of both things, because both things are exactly the same. I'm equally afraid of both. They're both exactly the same. Critical race theory has now spiraled beyond what the left can control, and the same thing is going to happen on the right with this white identitarian movement. It is exactly the same. It's two sides of the same coin. So I'm equally afraid of both. So thank you for calling in. I'm glad we were able to have a civil discussion. And, you know, I really hope you don't go down this road, because I don't think it's going to be a winning strategy in terms of the goals that you say that you have. But I appreciate you being polite and having a civil conversation with me. And have a good night. All right. That went shockingly well. I feel like I'm very composed for people who think I'm spiraling out of control. I just want to say that. I feel like I'm being very composed. All right. Dragon Water, I was wondering what you looked like, and now I know, and it's nice to put a face and a name together.
Well, I hope it's good. So, first question, I was wondering if you had any ideas on how we can basically deal with the places that the white identitarians latch on to draw people in.
I mean, I think that we need to know more about what those places are, to be honest. You know, I started noticing the language that they're using showing up in small town meetings. That was where I noticed it first. But then they've also been going after people in my YouTube comments. They've been going at so you know, so I think we need to learn more about this. And I think that hopefully the journalists that I have working on this, or that I shouldn't say I have, that are working on it of their own volition, will be able to provide us with more information about what exactly is going on.
Well, I was speaking more of on an individual level, the nuggets of pain and upset that are getting them to basically get new recruits.
You know, this is hard, because the thing of it is, and I'm gonna throw the trolls a bone for a second. I understand their grievance. I really do. And part of the reason that I want to fight critical race theory and fight all of this is because I don't think that they should be judged for being white and male. I don't. And I don't know how to get beyond the pain that they're feeling right now, other than to push back against this and to be an advocate where I can, and I don't have a great answer right now. I wish I had a great answer right now. I just don't.
And second major question, to take a spiritual term Joshua's used often, with the ideal of whatever resists persists.
Mm-hmm.
How can we go at this and actually win from a place of resisting it? It almost seems like it would be better to give up on the systems we have, watch them collapse, and focus on creating new systems.
This is a really great question, and this is something that I've been actually thinking about quite a bit. I think that one of the things we need to do is I think that we need to create a positive vision for what we want to achieve. And I think that that's something that's lacking right now. Like, I actually had this conversation with James Lindsay, and I said to him, James, like, what does success even look like for us right now? And he's like, I don't know. Because he's like his goofy self. And what I think we decided on is like we need to get these people out of leadership. We need to get like the woke people out of leadership positions. I think that might be what success looks like right now. And but I think that the bigger picture is we need to create like a vision around treating people as individuals. And that's something that is lacking. But we need to have something that people need to fight for rather than fighting against is my answer for that. And we don't have that right now. And I think that's something that I'm trying to work on as I'm writing my book.
Basically more personal empowerment.
Yeah, I mean, also, but a vision for like, this is also. I'll make an analogy with the Republican Party. Like one of the big problems I had with the Republican Party is I was like, what do you even stand for? Like, what do you want to do for the country? What do you want to achieve? And I don't have that. All I knew was a list of the things that the Republicans didn't like. I didn't know what that they did like. All I knew was what they didn't like. And so we need to create a better message around what does it mean to have a society focused around individual achievement, meritocracy, the things that we value that are separate from what critical race theory values.
What I saw with the Republican Party was a lot of complaining about all the bad things the Democrats did while ignoring all the bad things they've been doing previously and have done through the decades.
I completely agree with you. The Republican Party, and this is the problem, right? The Republican Party is completely reactionary to what the Democratic Party is doing. And what I don't want the anti-CRT work to be is just completely reactionary to what critical race theory is doing. I want us to think about what we want, not what we don't want. That's my best answer for right now.
Do you think you would have a one-on-one discussion with Gothics?
Yeah, I actually want to have a one-on-one discussion with Gothics. And it's something that I wanted to have her on my channel or go on her channel for a while. We just haven't done it yet. But yeah, I suspect that will absolutely happen at some point.
Yeah. And finally, I would like to apologize for a lot of the what seems like misunderstandings, my poor spelling and grammar.
No, Dragon Water. You've always listened. You've always been a great supporter of mine. If I came across as snarky or rude, I'm sorry. It's just been a couple of stressful days for me, but you've always been you've been here since like the beginning, pretty much, I think. And so I'm very grateful for your support, and I'm so happy that you got to call in tonight and I got to put a face with a name.
Yeah. Will you be the first Libertarian president?
No, I will never be president, but that's okay. That's okay.
Neither
Not
will
everyone has to be president, but I have not ruled out running for office as a Libertarian, and maybe more on that.
The Animaniacs taught me the office of president sucks.
Exactly. All right, Dragon Water, anything else for tonight?
No. It was nice chatting with you.
It was nice chatting with you too. I'll see you soon.
Maybe I'll get a locals call one day.
Yeah, come
when
to
I'm
locals.
not at work.
Yes, absolutely. All right, my friend, I'll see you soon. Bye. This is great. I love call-ins, even with trolls. Again, I feel like, if you are a troll calling in, just be polite. I'm willing to have a conversation with you. I've demonstrated that. Just be polite and we'll be best friends or something. We won't be best friends. That's not going to happen. But like, just be polite and we'll have a chat. Black Magic said, so good to catch you live. It's been too long. Good show. Also, you remember that guy we talked about with that thing to get? He fell off the map again. I'll give a jingle if and when he shows back up. Oh, Black Magic. You let me know, buddy. You let me know. I appreciate that. All right. Next up, we have one of my favorite Locals community members and newly minted moderator, Adrian. What's up?
You had a fun night.
Have I been appropriate or what? I feel like I've been like on my game.
You've been pretty good on your game. I mean, the first guy, I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. Patrick gave me the creeps the minute he came on.
I know, right? I was seeing him in the studio and I'm like, that's a white identitarian. I knew it. I was like, I knew it.
It's interesting. Yeah. I mean, man, it's been crazy what you've had to go through. And it's been interesting to watch how you've been dealing with it. And it was like most folks in the Locals group know that I'm a scientist by training. So I always look for these kinds of weird patterns and things too. So we agree on that. And it's just like, part of the reason it was an observation when I made a comment on one of your videos. I just commented just to see what would be said, and it was really, really interesting to see the commentary come up. Just like, yes, it's anti-whiteism and the treatment of everybody else who suffers when it was treating everybody else who was not white as being very incidental. So that's why I was just like observing that and was like, yes, this is why I don't like you all with the white well-being thing. And if you're pushing that kind of thing, because if you're going the anti-whiteism and you're treating everybody else as incidental, well, I'm sorry, you're placing white race as superior. Sorry, I'm not going to join you on that front. So that's just an observation that occurred to me. I don't know if you've had that thought with.
Oh, yes. 100%, because you know me, like I don't think that race should be a factor in any of these questions. I don't think that gender should be a factor in any of these questions. I think that people should be treated as individuals. And quite frankly, like, if we're talking about well-being and, positivity, I'm on board with well-being and positivity. I just think that can be done at an individual level. And I don't think that any race should be prioritized or any race should be put down. I just don't think it's helpful to the equation. And frankly, like, I'm going to be honest, like the energy of a lot of these white identitarian peoples, it does not feel good. So I don't think that they're actually like looking at well-being or positivity, because I know how to tell when someone is a positive person and when someone is not a positive person. And they have not been positive people.
Yeah. And I mean, I appreciate the other gentleman you had on who was, I can understand why he's really frustrated. Like I said, I share your agreement with that. I understand why he's so frustrated at what's happened and that feeling of being targeted. And really, I get that. I'm a conservative in academia. Do you think I don't feel like I'm targeted on a regular basis? I get that. But, I got to say, for you guys who are feeling that way, why are you letting everybody else define your self-worth? Why are you letting the rest of the world define your self-worth and how valuable of a person you are? When I mentor students, this is the thing I try and put into their heads. It's like, no, you are valuable as an individual. You have your brilliant talents, your abilities, and what have you. And it's like what my mother used to say to me is just like, my mother was strict as hell, partly because her name was so hard to spell, but the other reason was because my mother's Estonian, so she's got double letters aplenty in her name. Her name is a bitch for people to spell. Love her, but she drilled in my head the thing is like, your name is the foremost important thing about your identity. And so when you think of your own name, what do you tie up into that? Do you tie up your race as being the most important thing about your name and your identity? Or do you tie up all the things of what you do with your life, the values you hold, what you think is so important, what have you? If you're tying up your race as the most important thing, you're leaving yourself open to making your own life based upon what the rest of the world thinks of you. And that's unhealthy. I've learned that a lot in the last couple of years and learned a lot from you, actually. So I appreciate that. Thank you. But I mean, that's just it drives me. That's why I can't support focusing things on the base of,
I think that a lot of the,
I gotta say, you got a really heck of a troll in StreamYard. I'm noticing in the chat.
Oh, I know. I'm waiting for it. I am. It's going to be a heck of a call. But I mean, listen, like, I think that I agree with you, but I also think that a lot of these people that get sucked into these movements, I think it's a sad thing. I think that they find a community that builds up their self-esteem, that makes them feel really good, that, you know, they probably feel pride in themselves, maybe some of them for the first time in their lives, and I completely get it. I think what I would like to articulate to them is that there's just a better way to do it, and that they don't need to put anyone below them in order to feel amazing themselves. And they really can. And I know that, you know, this would probably fall on deaf ears for many of them. They can achieve what they want to in life, even if they're white men. Even if they're white men, they are perfectly capable of achieving every single goal that they have if they work hard and they focus and they put their energy in a positive direction and they get good people around them to help them. And there's simply just better ways to build up someone's self-esteem than one of these identitarian movements.
Yeah, and that's actually conservatives and classical liberals kind of have that in common, where we believe in the individual and their capability to succeed, you know, as individuals with hard work and with all the based on their merit and everything like that. That's a very conservative value. The whole collectivism around race is not conservative or classical liberal, I don't think. Classical liberal, I'm less familiar with. I know it's not conservative.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Adrian, anything else for tonight?
No, I had no idea what I was going to say until I popped in here, so that worked.
I think we had a great little chat. I think that this worked out really well. Well, I will see you in locals, my friend. We'll see you soon.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. For your records, Charlie Kirk calls CRT anti-white on Rush's show today. Not a fan of Kirk, but framing it that way seems like a winning start. I disagree, as you well know, and I am also not a fan of Charlie Kirk for many reasons that I will not go into here because I just don't care to. All right, we've got 4 more callers right now, so let's keep going. Kent. Hello, Kent.
Hello, Carolyn.
Carlin.
Sorry. That's okay. It's an odd name. First, I want to. Sorry. I want to congratulate you first on your personal courage. Not a lot of people can admit they're wrong, and when you start as a liberal, there's a lot of pressure to stay in that lane. And then you went to conservative, and now you're libertarian. So it looks like you're looking for a third position, something different than the 2 parties that we have right now. And I want to congratulate you on seeking and going through that journey, because that's not an easy one to make in these times where things are very partisan.
Thank you for that. And I will say, like, you know, again, like, I think that the Republican Party was a little bit of a detour for me. I don't necessarily, I feel like I was always more destined for the Libertarian Party, and I took a wrong turn, and then I did a U-turn, and I came back.
Right. Now, as far as I want to create a bridge between you and the people that disagree with you based on the anti-white. Well, no, I'm not going to go crazy on you. But one of the biggest key things is how do we fight this? And for one way to fight this is there's a group called the National Justice Party that wants to put forward a 25-point plan. And one of the most important points is including whites in the 1964 Civil Rights Act. This would not be a racist, supremacist gesture. It would, in fact, increase equality. And anyone who resists that would look suspicious, I would think, in your eyes, that why wouldn't you want whites included? And that would prevent a lot of the negative things we've seen, like your earlier callers talking about whites being discriminated at public events or in colleges or in hiring processes. Do you agree that we should extend the civil rights law?
I'm gonna throw you a bone. I believe that civil rights law, whether it be state or federal, should apply to every single race, and that to include white. And I will say that I happen to know that, you know, my friend Jody Shaw, when she was having her problems at Smith College, she wanted to see if she could apply civil rights law. She's obviously a white lady, and they told her that was not meant for people who look like you. And I think that that is unfair, and I think that that is wrong. And so on that very specific point, because I'm not going to give you a soundbite to make it seem like I agree with you on everything, but on that very specific point, yes, I do believe that civil rights law should apply equally to everyone, regardless of their race. Yes.
That's what we're talking about, is small steps. I think you'll find that a lot of your detractors, while at first, first contact, as you saw it a few days ago, it's always, high tense on the internet, and it's usually, bad impressions. But we, unlike the left, the third positionist or pro-white people we really want to talk to people because we like spreading our ideas, and we were in your position We were libertarians. We were jaded. We were kicked out of every community that was set on a bad path, and we wanted to find a better solution. And I would hope that we can continue a dialogue and that we can continue to figure out how to defeat the negative things that are affecting our population, like CRT, which I think it's undeniable at this point. We've seen it. An entire generation is growing up to hate themselves. And what do you think is going to happen when that generation comes into power? CRT was not voted on. And when that generation grows up, they're going to have less sympathy for us than they already do. And you can't even hardly hold a Twitter account now if you're a Republican. So what do you think it's going to be like for us when those people are grown up?
Well, listen, Kent, on this point, we agree. And this is why I'm spending a lot of time fighting critical race theory, because I do not believe that anyone should be made to feel bad according to the color, because of the color of their skin. I don't believe that that's a good thing. And that's why that's why I say critical race theory is racist. And it doesn't matter if you are black, white, brown, Asian, it does not matter. What I will suggest is that if you want to start to build bridges, you guys have got to stop trolling my channel. And you've got to stop harassing me. And you've got to stop harassing my followers, because you're not presenting a good image when I'm constantly having to deal with trolls and harassers. And I feel like we're having a pretty good conversation right now. And I appreciate the fact that you're being nice and polite, even though you know that you and I disagree on a couple things. I would also suggest that people have got to build their self-esteem up based on things that have nothing to do with the color of their skin. I'm sure you have a lot of good qualities. I'm sure you're, a good person deep down. You probably can contribute to your community, probably could, contribute to any organization, get a good job, build whatever life you want. And I just think there are better ways to build up self-esteem that have nothing to do with the color of your skin. And so if we can agree on those things and you guys stop trolling me and harassing me, hey, we might be able to build more bridges. Who the heck knows?
Well, thank you. And I think you'll find that we're a little bit more open and willing to work with people that don't share our skin color than you may think. Part of the NJP platform, National Justice Party platform, is the respectful continued citizenship of non-whites. The Nazis, as people like to broadcast on the internet, aren't really a thing. It's more of a boogeyman. We're rational people, and we really do want to talk to others. And I think if you accepted Borzoi Boskovich's request to debate on the People's Square, he's debated leftist academics. He'd be more than happy to be reasonable with you and include a moderator.
That's not going to happen, but it's not going to happen because I just don't do debates as a rule. It's nothing personal. It's me, not you. I just.
What about
don't
a talk?
Debates.
Would you do a chat, if you will?
Well, I will have to think about that. But again, it certainly isn't going to happen when I am being constantly harassed and mobbed on social media. So maybe if things die down and you guys play nicely, then maybe we can have a talk where everything is civil.
Well, our doors are open, and we're never going to close them. We just want you to know that. And if you want to see our ideas, we broadcast those as well, or people I listen to. That's on therightstuff.biz. And I think a lot of your fans would find common ground with us. So, for example, the Civil Rights Act, we do put forward logical solutions to the problems we've seen. We are not crazy. We understand the power process, and I don't think the Libertarian Party is a good avenue because, frankly, the Libertarian Party has floundered ever since it's been in creation. It's never really held the reins of power. So the only way to really hold power or to exert power is to start with a populist movement. And the majority of people don't like CRT. And the way to communicate to people is to be rational and provide actual solutions like adding whites to the Civil Rights Act in order to get people on board. And I think we can continue this, and I would appreciate it. But I'll get off now. I don't want to take too much time, and I'll be happy if you would have me later on.
Well, thank you, Kent, and thank you for being polite, and thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
All right, we got 3 more callers right now. And again, I'm going to remind everyone, I have shown good faith in every trolley conversation I've had so far. Just be polite. Just be polite. All right. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Shamjelin. Nice to meet you.
Greetings from California.
Oh, the people of California.
The third world country where we have rolling blackouts, bubonic plague, and a failing social economic You know, it's anyway. I just call him Carlin because I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing. And yeah, I agree with you. I think the problem we have here is just we got to stop referring to people by the color of their skin, period. We have to just look at people as people. It doesn't matter. I mean, everybody has struggles and difficulties. It doesn't matter where you come from or where you were raised. You know, I don't know, when I come up to you and I have never met you before, I shouldn't be making assumptions about you just based solely on the color of your skin. That's the problem that we have in this country. We need to quit doing that. And it's exactly like you said. They want us to keep doing that. They want us to keep referring to the color of our skin so that we continue to stay divided. And we're never going to get past this if we just don't stop doing that. And I don't do that. I don't care what the color of your skin is. I'm only concerned about the content of your character, who you are as a person. I can also, if you're if you're a MAGA hat or a liberal, I don't care. That's not the whole person either. I don't understand why people hate somebody because of their political leanings. Yeah, I promise you, if you just take some time and you sit down with somebody that is completely opposed to you politically, ideologically, if you spend a few minutes with them, you'll find out that you have a lot in common, a lot more than you think. You know, you might even have had some of the same experiences growing up as a child. You may have had some of the same hard times or some of those same things. There's a lot of things about people, you know, that's what we got to get past. We got to quit like vilifying people because of their beliefs. I mean, yeah, I agree. I'm not really happy with I'm kind of not super happy with ultra right or ultra left. I'm the dude in the middle. I think that's where a lot of us are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm cool. Hey, man, if you want to be called whatever your gender pronoun is, that's fine. I don't mind calling you that. I have no problem with that. But you can't compel me to say those things. I'm totally against that. You know, like, you know, I don't want anybody. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, I don't care how you live. I think it's silly that people even dwell on whether you're gay or not. That seems very childish. Like, is that what you see when you see somebody? Is that all you see? Is that they're having sex? It seems really deviant to me.
I completely agree with everything that you're saying. I think that we need to get to know people as individuals. And I do think that deep down, most people are good people and they just want good for other people. Like, you know, I understand. And again, I'm going to even throw the white identitarians a bone. I don't think that most of you are bad people.
I'm not a white identitarian.
I know. I'm just saying generally. I know you're not. You got like Buddy Jesus in your icon. I know you're.
Yeah, thank you. You know who Buddy Jesus is, then?
I do know who Buddy Jesus. I love Dogma. Dogma is one of my favorite movies of all time. I loved it. But no, I do think that most people are just generally good people, and you know, I don't know where you live in California, but I will be there in a couple weeks. I'm going to be doing a meetup with my locals community. Where's that? Where's that near Los Angeles?
Placerville is between. Oh yeah, it's up by Sacramento.
Sacramento
and Tahoe. That's too bad.
You know, I got this knitting tattoo in Sacramento. It's got a skull made out of yarn. Yeah. Well,
nice.
you've got a good spirit about you, Shamdell, and I'm glad you called in tonight.
Yeah, me too. It's really nice to connect with you. I've been a real big fan of you. I met you. First time I heard of you was through Benjamin Boyce, who is another amazing human being.
The best guy.
Yes, I love Benjamin Boyce so much. So you have a wonderful evening, Dr. Carlin, and it was really nice to talk to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Have a good one. I'm going to have to watch Dogma now. I haven't watched Dogma in like years. All right. I have a feeling these last two calls are going to be eventful. Remember, be polite. Corey, you're up. Corey Scott's socialist, so I know exactly where you stand. Unless you're using it as a clever ploy. Corey, what's up?
Actually, I just have a question. Since you're a libertarian, what do you think about Professor Walter Block and his stance on replications, and how does that apply to CRT?
I will say that I have been given a reading list by the Libertarians, and I have not yet started on the reading list. So you're going to have to give me a primer for what you're talking about.
What do you mean?
I don't understand what the question you just asked.
Walter Block, he's a super famous libertarian, as you are.
I'm not a super famous libertarian. I'm a baby libertarian at best.
Okay, so you're not famous, but you are part of the Libertarian Party.
Yes, but I have not read the full reading list yet. Nor do I know the positions of every person. But
No.
like, if you can give me a primer about like what he means, I can answer your question.
Oh,
I just
okay. Well,
this is not a reference that I have. I apologize.
Okay,
I don't have an encyclopedia for a brain.
No, it's cool. It's cool. He thinks that people that work the land should own the land. Correct?
I don't agree with that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a basic libertarian principle.
No, the private property is a libertarian principle, and so private property means that the person who owns the land, and they may hire people to work the land, but they don't. The people that they hire don't necessarily own the land just because they work it.
No. But they don't agree. They don't think that if you don't do anything with the land, then you don't own the land. That's a libertarian principle.
No, libertarian principle number one is private property. Private property. If I own the land,
that you work the land.
No, that's a communistic principle. I mean, I don't know if you're hanging out with socialist libertarians, which I don't. Again, Corey, we're going to be polite, or I'm going to boot you from the stream. I don't believe that libertarian socialists are a real thing, so they may have that principle, but the Mises Caucus, which I am a member of, believes in private property, which is you own the land to own the land, and then if you hire people and you pay them a wage, then they get that wage for doing the job that you hire them to do. And I subscribe to that ideology. I do not subscribe to any sort of ideology that says the people who work the land own the land. That's my personal belief.
Yes, I understand that. But that is somewhat contrary to what Walter Block believes, who is a professor of libertarian ideology.
Okay, well, people are allowed to have different opinions.
I'm just saying, I listen to a lot of libertarians, and that's what he says.
Okay, well, he's allowed to have that opinion. I'm allowed to have mine.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Anything else?
Oh, yeah. I do have a question about, you said the other day that you've never seen racism on the right. What do you mean by that?
I did not see racism on the right until recently.
Recently.
I had not had any significant encounters with the alt-right until recently. I won't say there weren't onesies and twosies. I think there obviously were, and I'm not going to deny that racism exists, and there are actually legitimate racists. I don't think it's the norm by any means, and I don't subscribe to this idea that, just because you're a Republican or just because you voted for Trump that you're a white supremacist. I don't think that that's accurate. I think that the vast majority of people who get accused of racism are not actually racist. Do I think it exists? Yes. I just had not encountered it to any significant degree up until the last week.
What do you mean you haven't seen it on the right, though? Like, because the Confederacy was right-leaning.
The Confederacy was a long time ago. And it was the Democrats who started the KKK. Well, the Democrats started the Klan.
Well, do you understand the difference of, like, the Democrats on the right?
The Democrats started the Klan.
Okay.
Abraham Lincoln was a Republican, and the Confederacy has not existed for a very long time.
Okay, so do you understand that Democrat and Republican are fluid?
They're not really.
Yeah, they are. So would you say that FDR is the same? Okay. Would you say that FDR and Jefferson Davis have the same ideological ideas?
I don't know the ideological ideas of either of them off the top of my head, and I'm not an encyclopedia, so this is not what I'm focused on right now. I'm not focused on history. I'm focused on critical race theory. So I wish I could answer your question. I just don't have an answer to it.
Well, it doesn't make any sense, though, because FDR is considered a leftist and also a Democrat.
Well, I would have to go back and remind myself of FDR's specific stuff that he did. I understand, I understand all that. It's just this is not top of mind for me right now. I'm having to reach back into American history that I took in college right now.
Okay. What I'm saying though is that you can't interchange right wing and Republican and Democrat and leftist because they're not the same thing. They're not the same thing.
Well, we're going to disagree on that, Corey. Is there anything else for tonight?
Well, I gave you a perfect example.
Well, but I don't. But again, like I don't have that off the top of my head. It's just not my frame of reference right now.
Okay, FDR is clearly a socialist and a leftist. You could not possibly construe him with a right winger.
How long ago was FDR president?
70 years ago. What's
exactly.
your point? Okay, he's still a leftist.
Things change.
Yes, obviously, but would you think
change? And just because FDR had progressive policies 70 years ago is not a reflection of whether or not Republicans or MAGA or Trump voters are racist today. Those things are not the same.
Which is also the same
it was
argument.
70 years ago.
It's also the same argument that Abraham Lincoln would not be a Republican today. Your argument is futile.
I believe that Abraham Lincoln would actually be a Republican today. But Corey, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this one, and I'm gonna thank you for calling in. Look at that. Look at that. Look what happens when you're impolite. So easy for me to kick you right out of my studio. All right, we have the last caller. I gotta admit, I've been waiting for you, dude. I've been waiting. You keep coming out and going back in. I've been waiting. Please be polite. I'll be polite to you. Let's do it.
What up?
What up? What should I call you?
My fellow Mika.
Oh, really?
Call me Black. Call me Black.
All right, Black. What's up?
Just came to see how you're enjoying the Libertarian Party, and specifically the Mises guys. I'm still a little new to them as well.
Oh, no, I love the Mises guys. Yeah. Are you enjoying the Mises guys?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dave Smith, that guy's amazing. That guy is an absolute.
Oh no, did he freeze?
Oh, I hope you.
Oh, you broke up.
Crap.
You broke up there
Sorry
for a
if I
second.
lost you there. My internet is very, very bad.
Oh, that's okay. Well, you seem to be back now. So you said what I heard was that you've been watching Dave Smith and you think he's awesome, and I think Dave Smith is awesome too.
Yeah, the guy is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, it is really quite sad to see some of the things going on at that. Really, Arm, you're having me shake right now.
Why?
I swear, body parts.
Oh.
They never seem to listen.
Oh. We'll do the best we can. What else would you like to talk about tonight?
I guess just to thank you for dealing with all the bull crap, I guess. And doing the pretty good work. I mean, hey, you got my home state of Idaho to ban CRT, so I mean.
Oh, you were in the first one to ban it. Oh, I'm so jealous that your state did the right thing and my state slacked off.
Oh, don't be too jealous. Our governor is an absolute rhino. Governor Little, or my dad likes to call him Chicken Little.
Well, I've never been to Idaho. I definitely hope to come at some point in the future.
Oh yeah, it's very pretty depending on the parts, except for like Pocatello and Idaho Falls, and Boise it's Boise.
Well, I've heard wonderful things about it. Apparently, there's a section of Oregon that wants to join you guys or something.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I kind of hope it does, because then hey, more land and we get a port. I mean, if that's possible.
Exactly. Now, are you going to try to be? So you said you're in the Mises caucus. Are you going to try to be? Are you going to try to be a delegate for Reno?
Sadly, no. Like, I'm actually kind of in the work of doing moving, as well as I'm also planning on going on a mission for my church as well.
Oh wow!
So it's a little tricky for me to do anything. I'm also like I'm not that old, so I'm still new to everything in politics.
Well, don't worry about rushing right into it. I'm sure you have plenty of time, so no worries. I totally thought you were gonna be a troll. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, that guy's gonna be a troll.
Oh, good. Well,
I was like ready for. I was like gearing up. I was like, let's go. But you're very nice.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I surprised you. See, like, I namely wear this mask just to, one, confuse people, and two, because it's cool, and also, well, you know, kind of hides my identity a little bit.
It does. That's probably
I'm
very
not all that
smart.
fond of people seeing my face online.
You're very smart.
Yeah.
I think the guy that threatened me probably should have worn a mask if he was thinking about it, but sadly he didn't. No, it's a cool mask though. I really do
Yeah.
like it. Yeah, it's cool. All right, my friend. Anything else for tonight?
Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
All right.
No, that's it. Beyond welcome to the Mises party.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for calling in and for being my last call of the night and for ending us on a high note.
Well, and thank you for everything you do, Carlin. Good night.
Right. Good night. All right. Well, that went much better than expected. Now, I do see people in the chat asking how to call in. Guys, I'm done. It's 11 o'clock at night. I thought I was going to be done by 10 o'clock at the latest. I've already gone an hour longer than I thought I was going to go. We're going to do a couple final super chats. Dragonwater, I don't think I would be a Republican. I really don't think any of the founder or important presidents would be part of our current system. They would be ashamed of us. I think that is very, very true. And something's going on in the chat. I know I have my... I'm sorry, Infinite Slick. I'm sorry. I'm done for the night. Should have come here earlier, but I do call-ins very regularly. So again, if any of you trolls want to call in and have a conversation, I actually think tonight went very well. I have to say, obviously there were some people that I do not agree with, but the thing of it is everyone was polite. Everyone was cordial. No one did anything stupid. And so now I actually do feel much more comfortable opening up to call-ins, even if you happen to be a troll. So we will not be doing call-ins tomorrow night. We will be doing Nothing Remotely Controversial tomorrow night with Joshua at 9:30. I hope everyone joins me and Joshua at 9:30. I will also be on, for all the libertarians, I will be on Joshua Smith's podcast right before that. So from like 8:30, 9:30, I'll be on with Joshua Smith, and then 9:30 to 10:30, I'm beyond with Joshua. No call-ins tomorrow night, but I will do call-ins in the future. And as long as you're polite and you behave yourself, you can come in my chat. But listen, I meant what I said. Like, if you guys want to have conversations with me, you've got to stop harassing me and you've got to stop harassing my followers, okay? For all the white identitarians, you've got to stop. And if you choose not to, then we can't have conversations. That's just the way it works, man. You got to be polite if you want something. But to everyone who's here for good reasons, thank you for hanging out with me for almost 3 hours. I will see some of you tomorrow night for Nothing Remotely Controversial. Have a good night, guys. I'll see you soon.